Hello, hello, happy Stalker Tuesday. How are you all doing this evening? Welcome on in. God, we got so many fucking homies up in chat here tonight. We got mad dudes pulling up for Stalker Tuesday. Wonderful to see. Tonight's gonna be interesting. It's the first Stalker Tuesday of October. Also, hello, Vex. Speak of the devil and he will come, I see. So, there's gonna be some interesting things happening tonight. With it being the first Stalker Tuesday of October, I'm going to be talking about where we're going to be headed with my anomaly save, and what my plans are for the next few weeks. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So, I can't wait to bring you all into the zone with me as I do every Tuesday. First, before we head on down to the bar, I want to give some love to many of my friends who've appeared tonight in chat. Nyx Nightfall, congrats on claiming the first redeem. Chance Nezumi VT, welcome on in as always. Dorothy, thank you for that resub. Knives Style, welcome on in. Everyone go please check out Knives by the way. Technomancer, wonderful to see you up in chat, as well as you, Jada. Wonderful, wonderful people. And Post of the Postmodern Art Podcast and Hexatious Vex have both made themselves known as well. Gee, Stalker on my Tuesday till god damn it. Don't you dare finish that sentence. With that said, let's head on down to the bar and get our introductions done, shall we? Ah, right when fucking I Wasn't Waving was playing too. Oh well. So, good evening everybody. Welcome on down to the bar as always. I am Too Much Sascha, the Chernobyl Battle Maid. I cook, clean, and hunt, all for the right price. And when I'm not doing any of those things, I live here in this bar in the back rooms where I stream spooky shooty games on most days. And every Tuesday I play Stalker Anomaly as we are continuing today. It's going to be an interesting time. By the way, as most of you all know, I do have my mod list command, which you can invoke at any moment to get a good run of what mods I'm currently using in Stalker. Thank you, King Yuki, for the follow. Bullshit. I appreciate it. Welcome to the Pripyat City Hate Crew, and I hope you enjoy your stay. I've updated my mod list with the two mods that I've recently added for the autumn occasion, those being the Golden Autumn Retexture and the Pumpkin Replacers for the boxes. And you know where to put those as well, because the mod list on Pastebin also shows my load order as well. But as always, I do disclaim that my load order is far from perfect, and you might see a couple of bugs or weird things happening. It's possible. So, that being said, what are we up to tonight? Well, we cleared out X16 last week. Where do we go from here? That means it's time for the big one. Now, as y'all know, last year, X19, the Brain Scorcher. This one was a rough one. Last year, it took me 2 whole streams, each over 5 hours long, to actually complete that one. I didn't even get inside the facility proper until the second stream, which is a Wednesday stream. It was almost like 5 or 6 hours, I think, but it was a fucking nightmare. You can go see it on the VOD YouTube, actually. So what did I do wrong? Why did it end up being so stupidly fucking long? I'll tell you. 1, I wasn't using armor-piercing rounds. Gonna be fun as they made the Scorcher harder. What, what is it, fucking, 1.5.2? I should hope not. But I am using a heavily modded setup, so it's a little bit different anyway, thankfully. So first off, because I'm using Grok's balanced overhaul of ballistic systems, I neglected to actually play by the add-on's rules. I was using an add-on that drastically reduces the effectiveness of FMJ bullets against heavily armored enemies. I then proceeded to go right into a heavily fortified stronghold and use FMJ bullets against heavily armored enemies. So, the first thing on my shopping list is going to be plenty of armor-piercing ammunition. Secondly, proper armor for me and my companions. My companions last time were not only not well armored, but they also didn't have proper backpacks either. So getting better like outfits, even if it's just anything better than default, and a proper backpack to allow them to carry anything that I might give them, as well as a top tier backpack for myself to carry everything that I might like, are both going to be necessary tools to ensure that I actually come out of this in a single stream and don't take fucking forever getting to it. On top of that, what else is there? Make sure my companions are properly armed. The last time I brought them to the Brain Scorcher, they were completely useless in combat because I kept all of them armed with weapons that had 0% durability, assuming that companion weapons did not have to worry about durability, just as they didn't have to worry about ammo. Everybody knows NPCs have infinite ammo. Having NPCs have to stock and manage and maintain ammunition would be a fucking ridiculous system to have that would run your RAM into the fucking ground. NPCs have unlimited ammo. They do not, however, have unlimited durability. So I stocked my companions last year with weapons that were in the lowest possible register of durability, and watching them take aim at enemies, fire once, and then immediately reload 5 different times, and then maybe fire once, if I was lucky. This was not optimal. So ensuring that all of my companions are equipped with proper weaponry for the job is going to be necessary. I don't think companions can even use slug ammo and shotguns, so ensuring that all of them have the highest caliber weaponry that money can buy is going to be necessary. Most of you all know, I do have a very nice little DA, fucking, what is it, a DS, fucking, what is it? A fucking SA-58, a modernized FAL shortened to a more carbine setup, although it does use a straight extended 7.62x51 NATO mag. 7.62 NATO is surprisingly fucking expensive, as is its armor-piercing counterpart. However, if I can secure a steady supply of it, I think I'll be pretty good. You could certainly do a lot worse than it, and as much as I love my AK, the problem is that ensuring a steady flow of armor-piercing AK rounds is going to be a little bit difficult, because I can't ask Chef to give me armor-piercing rounds. I can only just ask for rounds, and it's always FMJ. As much more expensive as 7.62 NATO armor-piercing will be, I think it's going to be better than just using armor-piercing AK ammo to begin with. So ensuring a steady flow of armor-piercing rounds will be necessary, and I might fix up that SA-58 to ensure I have a good rifle for it. So let's see, I do need to get a better suit, because my current armor has really, really low durability and constantly, gets, dropped down to the 90% and below after just a couple of shots, even with 3 Kevlar inserts. On top of that, I need to have proper, I need to have a good supply of repair kits and items like that for ensuring that my own physical health as well as my equipment's health are maintained as well as possible. And lastly, I'm going to try and not go in the front door this time. Because the last time I did this, I went right up through the front goddamn entrance and got my ass kicked. You can go in through the back and avoid most of the whole, stretch of the gauntlet leading up through the roads through the radar if you go through the Red Forest first. Generally, you're going to be dealing with a lot of guys there, but it's still a lot less monolith than you would have to deal with if you were going through the front entrance. Regardless, there is only one way you can possibly enter into the fucking X-19 bunker anyway, so we're going to have to be, excruciatingly careful about it. but I think we'll be okay if I handle this correctly. That's about all I can think of off the top of my head. There's a lot to be prepared, so it's going to take me a good while to get this ready, but once I am ready for the raid, we're going in. I don't know when I'll be able to get that done. Hopefully within a couple of weeks or streams, we'll have to see. But without further ado, let's get started, shall we? I've got the game open right here. Alright, here we are. I've been recording fucking runs of the game without mods other than screen space shaders and boomsticks, because I've been attempting to record footage for a video of just all the reload and unjam animations of boomsticks and sharpsticks, complete with screen space shaders so that the guns look really nice and shiny. So I'm needing to get on that, but I haven't. It's a long and time consuming process just recording it, not even editing it. So let's see what we got here. I got my Spas 12. Not a fan of Gamma or EFP? Nah, I'm not really into them. I might give them a shot at some point, but managing all of the mods manually on one end as like a piecemeal mod setup that I can load accordingly, and bug fix accordingly, is a lot easier for me than dealing with a mod pack. Sure, mod packs are easier to install, but keeping them all, all of those tiny moving parts running and working in accordance with each other can be a lot more of a nuisance than it may seem from the outset. So we got a Spas 12. The other thing that I did last time was I loaded my Spas 12 with fucking 12-gauge buckshot. And as per Grok's Balanced Overhaul of Ballistic Systems, buckshot is basically completely useless against any enemy with armor. So ensuring a steady supply of AP slugs will make sure that this thing is still useful to me. Oh, I got stuck under something there. So I'll need to make sure I can get a steady supply of slugs here. There's that, and the AK. So let me show you all the rifle that I'm thinking of building for this raid. This is the DS Arms SA-58, a modernized FAL with a obviously shorter barrel and everything, but once you get this thing upgraded, it can be quite the fucking menace. I like how it looks, and its 7.62 armor, 7.62 cartridge ensures that it's going to hit pretty fucking hard. I also just generally like how she looks. It's a nice, rigid, and cool little gun. And because it's a slightly smaller weapon, I think it actually weighs less than my AK. Because if we take off all the attachments, with a full magazine, we're sitting at 3.88 kilograms. Oh, this is the exact same weight. Never mind. Okay. Well, there goes that. But regardless, it's still useful. There's also a KS-23 shotgun, but I can't say I'm extremely interested in making use of that. I can only really build one new weapon and still be able to afford everything that I think I'll be needing for this run. So building a new shotgun I don't think is going to be very cost effective, but that's okay. And of course we've got our SVD sniper rifle, with not a whole lot of armor-piercing rounds, but I have reason to believe that we're not really going to need armor-piercing 7.62s on a sniper rifle. If I can't afford armor piercing, which is going to be expensive no matter what cartridge I'm purchasing, going with 7.62 caliber is definitely a way better fucking choice, obviously. So here's the other thing. If I am going to start building up the SA-58, we need more ammo for it. 7.62 is stupidly expensive, and on top of that, I don't have enough magazines for this thing to be able to fill out all of my inventory slots. I need more magazines, simply. I could go with a 5.56 rifle and just get a shit ton of mags of those really easy, but that's not really an option right now. No matter what, if I want a better selection of upper tier weapons, I'm going to have to start getting a little bit cozy with Clear Sky or Freedom. Probably Freedom would be better because I don't like having to go all the way out to the Great Swamps. It's just a huge fucking hassle to go there to begin with. So, I think getting a little bit cozier with Freedom will probably be a necessity here. Now, what I want to do... What else? Yeah, here we go. So I got the SA-58, and its magazines I only have 3. That is not a lot, and not to mention barely any 7.62. Being able to reload and load existing ammo that I have is also an important necessity. The problem is that finding the recipe sheets for loading ammunition cartridges is basically RNG. I don't know the load table, like the loot tables, and I'm not entirely interested in doing that. So I guess it would have to be pure luck, because I am sitting on a shit ton of AP rounds. I think 220 AP rounds would be enough to clear all of X19 in one go, but I simply don't have enough. So I have work to do. That said, I think it's time to get some of our first quests underway. Let's talk to Barkeep first. He's already given me some quests, but I do think I need to go stop by Freedom's base, because they have some quests to give me. After that, I do want to head on down to the army warehouses, as, what is it? There's a good quest I can get done there. There's a couple of quests I can turn in there. In the interest of ensuring that I have enough money to really be able to get all of my gear, I'm probably going to have to get into the artifact trade soon, which is going to be a little bit difficult as I'm not really properly equipped for it, but I can try. Thank you for the canteen sip, by the way, Kim Tustus. I really appreciate it. I'm going to sleep till 12 because I knew there's a Psy storm happening around like 11, and I don't really want to have to stick around for that right at the start of the stream. I have thought about trying EFP off stream. The problem is that Tarkov isn't really a game that terribly interests me. Don't get me wrong, like I like FPS games with a lot of good fucking weapon customization, and Tarkov does look like a game with good customization, but the issue is that I think Tarkov's, like, every time I look at gameplay of Tarkov, it just generally looks like something I don't think I would enjoy. But I will say, from what Wishy was saying on stream, at the very least, Escape from Pripyat looks to be a lot more palatable for a single player person like me, with the general concept of weapon customization and everything else present in a mod. I'm assuming that this weapon customization is mainly just an offshoot of Gunslinger's setup, which is good. More mods should do that. So I'll go check it out, I think. I did recently join their Discord because I wanted to get a look at what retexture and thing they used for the HK416, because let's be real, the vanilla Anomaly 416 is kind of dog shit, but it looks like it's all completely proprietary weapon reanimations and reskins, which is very cool. So I will give it a shot, if nothing else, just to see what the guns feel like. If it ends up not feeling good, then I just won't fucking use it. The other thing is, I'm not sure if EFP uses, what is it? Fucking, screen space shaders, and, I would like to make use of those, considering, you know, I really like when my game looks nice. I'm kind of like a petty bitch like that. But again, because it can't be, I'm not sure if it is loaded in a mod loader or anything, loading it and, like, you know, keeping track of everything and figuring out what might be causing a bug is a little bit difficult. Granted, you know, the whole point of mod, like, packs is that they're kind of supposed to have those ironed out, but, like, I've still heard some horror stories of Gamma. And people are coming to me and they're like, yo, Sascha, you're like my go-to stalker person. How do I fix this with Gamma? And I'm like, I'm sorry, friendo, but I have never touched Gamma in my life. And I'm sorry, but I'm not entirely sure that I think I have any interest in doing it. I don't think that what Gamma brings to the table is what I want. Now, the interesting thing is, when it comes to EFP, I remember when it dropped a year or so ago, early on into its development time, and the general consensus right out of the gate, at least from what I could, you know, the people that I knew and the channels that I was in and present as a part of back in that time, were basically saying, hey, EFP is definitely not ready for prime time. Give this some time, because right now it is super fucked. And I'm like, okay, so I won't. And then I didn't. But it seems like over time it has definitely kind of been polished, and community, it looks like a mod that is very, takes like community input and assistance to heart very, very well. And I think that is absolutely necessary, like tantamount, if you're going to be making a mod like that. So I'm proud of them for doing that. Tim Tussis says scheduled size storm. It was on the Weather Channel. Yeah, my fucking weather app updated me about it. It told me straight up. It was like, hey, Sascha, you got a size storm happening tomorrow. And I'm like, real? It's fucking crazy. Tonight might be a little bit on the shorter side, though. I do apologize for starting late, but, my stomach has been feeling a little bit weird. I don't know why. I've just been kind of, like, not feeling good when it comes to, like, physical health for a while, but I've just kind of been like that. So if that ends up being the case, you know, obviously I'll still try to find a way to end it on a natural way. I'm not getting you a weapon, and I'm not starting a war with duty. I'm also not going to Limansk. Most of these, I'm sorry, but, like, the big issue with Freedom is, like, they constantly just ask me to do shit that isn't possible. You know what, I think destroying a monolith detachment might actually be feasible, especially since I now have a sniper rifle. I think that might be a lot better. Because I do have to get my fucking, you know, I gotta get my fucking rep up with Freedom, and that seems like a good way of doing it. I'll be honest, I thought about opening up tonight's stream with some music by High Viz, because I fucking love that band. They're just that good. I can get you something from the Dart Valley. I'd rather you do what you can than rest and feel better than overdo it and get sick. Yeah. Honestly speaking, like, most things have just been a little bit harder to do since I started T-blockers. They just make me a lot more drowsy. And it's weird. Like, I can't really muster the strength to do a lot of things. I'm just kind of generally feeling weirdly kind of, like, out of it. I feel like a big part of it is that my sleep schedule has been slowly drifting later and later, and I don't think it's good for me for it to be doing that. On top of that, I've just been kind of, like, getting worked to the fucking bone at my job. And on top of that, my job isn't really giving me as many hours, especially because fall just tends to be a really dead month. So, you're getting, like, the few hours I do go in, I'm completely busting my ass and fucking fighting for my life on the floor there. And then, you know, I get home and I don't even have the fucking energy to make any food or anything. So it kind of sucks, you know? Like, October kind of snuck up on me, and I was planning on maybe getting, you know, talking to my model artist about getting, like, a cool monolith-themed skin for my character. But that didn't really end up being something I could talk to her about because I've been too busy with everything else. I'm already, you know, conversing with an artist about something I think I've been needing to do far, far earlier in advance, before I even got my model commissioned. So there's that. Generally speaking, I've just kind of, like, I'm kind of in, like, a weird state right now where I just feel like there's a lot on my mind and a lot that needs to be done, and it feels like there's too little time in a day to even muster the strength to do it. It's not great. And to be fair, a lot of that just came from what it was like in the summer, but I think the first step that I need to make is just getting myself a better fucking job. You know, getting a job that has, like, you know, pays out better, doesn't have me busting my ass physically so much, and probably maybe has better benefits. But right now, the best I can do is just, like, you know, I'm just kind of trying and putting myself out there. But it's okay, you know, I take things as they come. And I'm a very, you know, sort of like cross that bridge when I get to it kind of girl. But I'm confident I can do this, but it's just really taken a lot out of me. Dorothy says T-blockers aren't affecting me as bad, but some days it's bad. That's valid as hell, friend. I think a big part of why it's like that with me is just because, you know, I'm on, like, you know, the 20-something, like, minimum wager diet right now. So mostly, like, my main intake of greens is whatever, you know, sandwiches I eat at work. I'm generally not eating that well, and I'm relying way too much on caffeine to keep me getting out of bed. I think a goal I'm going to set for myself this month is to finally kick coffee. I like coffee, but it's not good for my voice to be drinking as much of it as I am. It's better to stick to tea. The problem is that tea doesn't have as much caffeine content, so, you know, I'm not really going to be waking up as well, and especially when I need to get to work and basically be fucking ready for war every time I clock in. It's like, what am I gonna fucking do, man? It's just being a VTuber and working and everything else that I've got going on. It's taken a lot out of me, but, you know, I'm taking things as they come. You know, I'll get by. I'll get by. There's not really much else I can do. Thank you, Nix, for the canteen sip. Like, I definitely need to find a job with enough income to finally be able to move out and not be at the mercy of, you know, like, whatever's going on with my family at the time. Like, don't get me wrong, I love living with my family, but, like, you know, it's, I gotta figure out something and start, you know, making my way on my own. And on top of that, it's just like, you know, I would like to get proper insurance so I can maybe start, you know, getting checked up on some shit with my health that I've kind of needed to address, and I haven't really found the time to. On top of that, ensuring that I have, like, an insurance that actually covers my HRT is probably a good idea. So there's that. So I'm just keeping on, you know? At the very least, I'm definitely making steps in the right direction. Like, I actually finally got myself a credit card, which is something I have not had yet, but I'm proud that I finally do. And now that I can actually start, you know, building credit, that'll be good for doing things like, you know, if I ever do get a house, you know, doing that. Maybe, because I think I'm probably going to need to start working on getting myself another car soon. I can't be driving the same 2013 Subaru, you know, the fucking thing's a decade old. So building credit is a good thing, and now I can finally start doing that. Mankesser, our local Mankesser is up in the chat. How you doing tonight, Billy? But I also, finally started paying off some of my student loans from college, which is good, you know? I do wish, nothing wrong with an older car, yeah, but, like, my car kind of, like, you know, it has a non-functioning AC, there's an airbag light that's, like, an airbag passenger detector that literally doesn't work anymore, and my speakers are blown out, and generally speaking, I'm not really sure how many years the thing has left in it, so, ensuring I have, like, you know, enough income and enough credit that I can replace it if that need ends up coming, it's probably a good idea. Obviously, I'll be worrying about that before I even think about moving out, because that's a pretty big fucking commitment for me. Mine's an 03, aside from the AC, she runs fine. That's good. There's also the fuel economy, too. Oh, shit. Hold up. My guys are, like, fighting, like, something else entirely than I am. I got this. Shit. Oh, I interrupted my fucking reload. But yeah, now that I'm, like, you know, like, obviously paying off loans and, like, using a credit card now, at least it means that, you know, in the worst case scenario, my credit rating won't suffer, which is probably a good thing to be keeping track of. Ah, I fell into an anomaly. Holy shit. I have never seen the anomaly death from first person before. That's actually kind of terrifying. Like, see, like sometimes I actually see, like, mutants carry my body away, after killing me from first person. And that's freaky. But seeing my body get pulled up into the air and whirled around like that is fucking scary. Dorothy says, oh yeah, I was eating like that till I was in my 30s. I've been starting to eat better, mainly because my body made me, but I feel so much better now, though. That's awesome. I'm super happy for you, homie. Billy says, sickness, suffering. Oh, I'm sorry, friendo. I hope you feel better soon. Make sure you're getting that rest, staying hydrated, and eating as best as you can. Even if it's just a can of chicken noodle soup every now and then. So, you know, I'm making steps, but I can't really, I've been needing to talk to a psychiatrist and maybe start, you know, building rapport with a therapist or something, and right now, without, insurance that covers it, because I do have insurance, but, like, my insurance basically has, like, the most bare-bones possible coverage in the world, so without insurance that even covers, like, anesthesia at a dentist visit, it's generally kind of difficult, you know? So it kind of sucks, but, I gotta start, you know, making steps towards that. It sucks. It sucks just being hit with a ton of like adult responsibilities at once and being like, damn, I really gotta, I gotta start thinking about all this. But you know, it's better now than later. And I'm proud of myself for making the little steps that I have towards it. You know. Yeah, I like my car. She's a nice old Subaru. The engine is nice, but you know, she kind of just generally needs like a new fix every now and then. And I mean, obviously the AC and speakers are like their own thing. I'm impressed that I've literally survived a summer on the East Coast in current year without AC in my car. Like, obviously it sucked, you know, getting in, having to like basically blast air through the fucking windows before I get in the goddamn thing, and then driving it, and only after like 5 minutes of being in it am I actually like feeling somewhat comfortable. But to be perfectly honest, having like survived a summer in a car with no AC is probably one of the biggest achievements I can put on my belt when it comes to like extremely mundane, like, you know, everyday life things. It's like, damn, I lived through that shit, didn't I? That's impressive. Mine is a 2012 Fiat 500. I need new exhaust, but only has 101,000 miles on it. God damn. See, I was using my car to commute like an hour to school and an hour back for 4 days a week for a good, like, you know, a good year or so. Cars without AC blow ass. Quite literally. It was kind of a nightmare, but you know, again, I'm proud that I got through it. You know, I dealt with it as best as I could. And that's always a good thing. Honestly, what's funny, I'm sure y'all are gonna laugh at this, but like the thing that kind of like annoyed me the most about it was the fact that I didn't have like, you know, speakers that were really up to snuff, because you know my speakers kind of like fizzled out over the course of 2019, and by 2020, like, you know, 1 or 2022, my speakers have kind of been completely shot, and only the ones in the back are still working. When my, you know, family was talking about getting me something for Christmas, I was genuinely considering just saying, give me money towards a new speaker system in my car. Like, I'll take that. Like, I'm happy to just keep using this old thing as long as I need to, but having, like, a better speaker system will probably be really good for that. Was doing the same, but it only had 5,800 when I bought it. Ah, goddamn. I mean, granted, I generally don't have to drive very far to my jobs, and I've kind of made that a little bit of an, like a, you know, like kind of a deal breaker for me. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not commuting like 45 minutes to an hour to get to a fucking job. I'm not doing it. Especially with gas prices being what they are, you know? Samir says sniping is a good job. Hi, Violet, welcome on in. How are you doing tonight? It's good to see you. Texas Slay, as in you're killing it. I am killing it. I'm in like early stream podcast mode right now, so I'm just kind of like, you know, talking about the Sascha update, as I'm sure y'all know. Like, it's just kind of like sucks, because like, it feels like a lot of like older people don't really get it right now, but it's like, I'm sitting here with a fucking business administration degree, you know? Like, I've got a degree that I put a decent amount of money into, the point where now I actually have to start paying student loans back towards like a $17,000 debt. And it's not fun. And it feels like this fucking, like, it feels like nobody's paying attention when I fucking apply to places and say, hey, I've got a business administration bachelor's, you know? Like, I went to college for years and years to learn things like business ethics, economics, and everything to be optimal for this, you know, exact position you're offering, and you don't seem to want to call me back. And it's like, what the fuck do you want from me, you know? Like, I'm writing the cover letters, I'm sending out, like, shotguns of fucking applications, and just nothing. And it's like, what the fuck do you want from me, dude? It sucks, but, like, it's not like I give up. I keep trying at it. I keep going at it until it works. And I'm proud of myself for continuing to go at it until it works. But, you know, it's murder. Like, I'm basically kind of, like, diversifying everything that I'm applying to, because, like, listen, alright, my current job doesn't pay the worst, but, like, it technically pays less than the coffee shop I was at, and the hours fluctuate more, and I'm not making tips either. So it's like, well, this sucks. I've actually kind of downgraded myself. Samir says comfy bed plus Sasha stream. Awesome! If you're in bed and you need something comfy, are you, like, are you kind of under the weather today, too? A lot of people are. I'm finally starting to get over the sickness that I had later in September, and I'm very happy about that, because it did kind of suck to be dealing with that. I think my guys over there are just dealing with zombies, so I can handle most of this myself. Thankfully, these are FMJ rounds, not armor-piercing, so this is a lot easier to handle. Because I would not want to waste AP 762 on a bunch of fucking gopniks. Don't want to sound like a downer or thing. This kind of stuff is why I'm glad I didn't go to college. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, like, I learned that if you know, like, if I hadn't gone to college, I probably could have gotten a factory job, but I'm pretty sure a factory job would have, like, had me dying. I think I might have caught a slight cold, but took syrup. That's good. I don't think I've taken cough syrup in a fat minute. I mainly just, like, had, like, a bowl of chicken noodle soup and tea and just kind of toughed it out. But whatever it was, a cough or something else, but I did, that cough fucking stuck around for a very, very long time. It sucked. Texas, I know that I just found myself zoning out to your stream. This has got great comfy vibes. Awesome, thank you. I do know that, like, Stalker Tuesdays are generally when I kind of try to just have, like, a comfy sort of fireside chat vibe, where I sit down with my viewers and we just talk about stuff and vibe out. That guy had 2 hits on him at once, poor bastard. By the way, whenever I get around to Anomaly, is Gamma a good idea? It's very funny, as I was actually just talking about Gamma today. Oh. Is that a mechanic? Okay, I think I got them all. Samir, to answer your question... Oh, where... To answer your question, Samir, I have actually heard a lot about Gamma. I have never played it myself. If I'm being perfectly honest, I'm not sure I would advise it, because most of the people that I do know personally who use it have mostly just kind of given me a lot of stories about how it's kind of, like, really, like, annoying whenever there's an issue, and it's kind of, like, bullshit and hard to set up. Generally speaking, just vanilla Anomaly with, like, a couple of fixes that I could probably forward to you is probably all you would need. Vex says, past month has Def had a negative vibe going on, people getting sick or feeling down in general. Had to take a couple days off for mental health myself. I've thought about doing that, but after taking, like, you know, basically all of July off, I've, like, allowed myself to feel guilty about, like, the idea of taking, like, off again. Especially in a month where I've hyped it up, you know, with, like, a teaser and everything, you know, I'd be like, man, I just, like, you know, ran right into October ready for everything, and now it's like, no, I can't, like, I don't want to do that to people or make people feel disappointed, but it's like, what do I do? What do I do, you know? So it sucks. It's weird. Texas is very lucky they did not just one-tap you. Very nice to see them panic spray. They're bandits. They don't really know how to shoot for shit. So that can usually be a blessing in most cases. Still got to get through COP, so that'll be a while. Oh, naturally, yeah. Hope you have a good time in COP. Honestly, Call of Pripyat's a fantastic game, and I love it to death. It has some of my favorite moments, and like I told you, there's a lot of open-endedness to it. So it's a game that allows you to solve its problems in really, really unique ways. However, and somebody died. Okay, I gotta stop letting my guys fight some random fucking thing out in the middle of fucking nowhere. There is, like, one area that I think you may have some trouble with in Call of Pripyat. I'm gonna be real, I've played Call of Pripyat for, like, you know, years and years and years, and, like, completely missed quests. Because, like, it's not like an RPG where you're supposed to not do certain quests depending on your run. It's like a game where you can get everything done. But, like, the game is, like, surprisingly open-ended, and there's a lot of ways to do things and a lot of ways to miss things. So, you know, when I was playing it, like, you know, last year, before I was, like, a VTuber, And I had people in chat telling me, hey, Sascha, have you found this thing yet? And I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't even know that was in this game. And they, you know, had me pull out my PDA and look for it on the map. And I'm like, holy shit, that's just been there this whole time and I didn't even notice it, you know? It's a game that has a surprising amount of depth, even compared to Shadow of Chernobyl. I think the quests in Call of Pripyat are the best they've been in the series. I think that the solutions to quests are the best they've been in the series. The weapon customization and upgrade systems are definitely the best. Generally speaking, most things, really good. Also, that's just straight up game code in the fucking chat there. That's not supposed to be there. But I think you'll enjoy it. But like I was getting to, there is like maybe one quest that I think you might probably really get like understandably mad at. It's pretty late in the game. You'd have to be playing for quite a while to get to it. But if and when you get to it, because I'm not sure if you're going to be going for like the perfect ending where you basically get everything done. Because again, you know, you can miss things and that's okay. But if you do end up going for it, I might, you know, I'll probably warn you about it before you actually start it proper. Because there are a couple of moments in Call of Pripyat where you're just like, seriously, dude? Like, you had to add this to the fucking game? Thankfully, you know, obviously the game lets you save scum, so it's very unlikely that those things will really put like a major dent in your experience, but it does suck. There isn't a canon ending, so I'll do what I can. Good point. Just do whatever feels natural. If you need to do jobs, you know, etc. No matter what, like, obviously, because, like, the game isn't quite, like, Anomaly or Shadow of Chernobyl, it's not like there's Radiant quests. So, like, there is, like, a point where you can basically have literally done every quest a person can offer. I think some of the only Radiant quests there are Beard's artifact orders. So, Beard will literally just constantly ask you to get artifacts for the man. And then, you know, obviously you can just get them for him and it pays out really well. But that's about it. Obviously, like, the best way to make money is to artifact hunt. And I taught you how to do that, so you should be good. Alright, let's try this one more time. I gotta get to, like, a good vantage point here. And I forgot to reload it. Naturally. Holy shit, I fucking sent him flying off the building. True to form, this SVD does kind of tear them up, and I appreciate that. Now, there's one thing I know they're going to do. They're going to start climbing up onto the fucking sniper tower there to just grab each other's loot. It's very weird. The bandits prioritize looting each other over killing you a lot of the time, so... it sucks. It didn't look like they'd actually discovered me, but now I think they have, so... Oh, hey, this guy fancies himself a sneaky motherfucker, huh? Okay, alright. Samir says, I hope I can actually get money from doing side quests. Don't want to have to rely on upgraded weapons. Well, here's the cool thing. If and when you find tools for mechanics to, you know, increase the availability of their upgrade trees, those things themselves offer, what is it? They offer up surprisingly good pay. Most mechanics will definitely have you do jobs for them, like, you know, as like specialty things. It's pretty easy to find quests and get work in that game. And also, even if you can't afford to upgrade your weapons, there are a variety of unique weapons in the game. Some of them you can get from certain stashes, some of them you get from certain characters and quests. I know the location of a couple of them, but they can be very, very useful when you get your hands on them. So if you do start having money trouble regardless, invest in just, like, you know, seeing if you can track down tips on unique weapons and shit. Most of them are quest-specific, though. But some of them you can find in the wild, and one of my favorites you can find in the wild, which is one I didn't even know about, until I was tipped off about it by one of my viewers. Call of Pripyat knows how to hide things. I do occasionally still find myself finding things in that game that I had never found after all these years. Radel R, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Pripyat City Hate Crew, and I hope you enjoy your stay here. But yeah, no, I think you'll be alright. The game is nowhere near as unforgiving as Clear Sky when it comes to the you know, the fucking financing of your arsenal. Even if you are getting by on unupgraded weapons, I do want you to know that unupgraded, like, weaponry in Call of Pripyat is nowhere near as bad when it comes to being balanced around their upgrades, like in Clear Sky is. In Clear Sky, weapons are dog shit, and when you upgrade them, they become usable. In Call of Pripyat, weapons start out usable, and you can upgrade them to being broken. You can upgrade an AN-94 to basically have pinpoint, like, laser beam accuracy from hip fire, if you'd like to. And that's what I've done. Like, accuracy upgrades and everything else. Granted, obviously, the upgrade tree is always going to be skewed in certain ways. For example, because of how Stalker works, damage is always going to be primarily based on your cartridge rather than the weapon itself. So it's not like you're going to have, like, two different 5.56 weapons that do more or less damage than each other. The way that Stalker's ballistic systems have worked have made it so that you rarely ever actually have to worry about your damage output, you know? Like, if you're hitting your mark with your gun, you're hitting your mark with your gun. The only big difference is that you generally want to use armor-piercing ammo on armored enemies, but, like, aside from that, you don't really have to worry about, like, you know, whether or not you're doing enough damage or DPS or anything. It's just, I shot the man, and he died. That's all I need. What's the thing that fucking Revy said? As long as you can hit your mark, pretty much any gun will do the trick. So that's how you want to live. But because you can't upgrade damage on weapons, most things on, like, upgrade trees and weapons are primarily going to be skewed towards things like accuracy, reducing recoil and bullet spread, and in a lot of other cases increasing increasing the durability of your weaponry. Because you can actually, you know, fucking what is it? You could repair your weapons, which you couldn't do in Shadow of Chernobyl. And obviously that's a good thing. However, the big, like, sort of, like, trees when it comes to upgrading are primarily going to be in armor systems. As you want to, usually upgrade trees are going to be split between routes of either upgrading it for protection from anomalous threats to combat threats. So you can obviously upgrade it to be really good at tanking damage from, you know, guns, explosions, mutants, etc. But you're obviously going to suffer in the field of elemental damage. So it's either make armor, you know, build armor that's really, really good for dealing with, like, mutants and people, or build armor that's really good for going into anomalies. And usually just by looking at one or reading an item description, you're going to get a pretty good rundown of whether armor is going to be better geared towards either or. Another good way to get, like, you know, like, non-stock weapons without upgrading your own is, there's a character in the Skedovsk. His name is Nimble. He's actually a recurring character who appears in basically every single game in the series. But in Call of Pripyat, he's a gunrunner, and he supplies unique and rare weaponry to people. For surprisingly not the highest prices ever. Obviously, they're expensive enough you'll probably have to do a little bit of saving, but for, you know, slightly better prices than buying and, you know, just, like, you know, fucking homebrew upgrading a weapon all from scratch, you can get some surprisingly cool, unique weapons. Once you complete Call of Pripyat, I do still think you should try the Gunslinger mod at some point, either before or after you play Anomaly. Obviously, let's be real, if anybody who's watching my stream knows, Anomaly isn't really a game you stop playing. It's just a game you play, and then you're kind of like that forever. Hold up. Oh, shit. There we go. Anomaly is just kind of a game you play, and then you play for the rest of your life. But, like, you know, whatever, either before or after you get into playing Anomaly, I guess. I would advise you try the Gunslinger mod for Call of Pripyat, because it is basically the exact same game, but it has much cooler weapon, what is it, weapon customization, and a lot of its combat systems and animations have been greatly overhauled to feel a lot better. The only issue is that it makes two particular mutants way too bullshit. To the point where there are entire add-ons you are advised to install after getting this mod, specifically with the express purpose of making these mutants not complete bullshit. Both of them being pretty, like, standard mutants to deal with in the vanilla game, obviously, which is weird, because, like, normally they're pretty simple. It's like, hey, here's this guy, you hide behind cover when you do the thing, and then you shoot him. But now it's like, oh, like, if you're just too close to him in general, like, you don't even have a fighting chance. And that sucks. That's no good. It's a Beretta magazine. I think I got everybody. Alright, time to pull my boys back. Ironically, actually, maybe it would be better if you waited until after your current Call of Pripyat save, and or after, you know, you got into Anomaly, because people are currently working on an open source engine, like a custom engine version of Gunslinger that runs in a standalone build called Open X-Ray Gunslinger. And that's a good way of going about it, because I think if you were interested in playing Gunslinger, which I wouldn't know, but in case you were, a big issue with Gunslinger is the fact that Gunslinger is primarily just like a hard and fast regular ass mod for Call of Pripyat. And this wouldn't sound like a big deal, obviously. Like, you know, generally speaking, when it comes to mods, you want to stick to standalone experiences like Anomaly or Dead Air. The problem, the devil is in the details. And the problem is this. Remember when I told you to add that RAM increase to your installation, Samir? That's because, like I said, Call of Pripyat is a 32-bit game running on a 2GB RAM limit. And even if you do increase that RAM limit to 4, it's not like a be-all, end-all fix. Call of Pripyat, when you start actually adding on things that, like, make it a little bit more intensive, your performance can and will slow to an absolute crawl. Like, especially with Gunslinger, depending on what you're dealing with. I want it known, right? I have an RTX 3080. Did this guy die with a fucking cigarette in his mouth? Hold on a second. Also, I literally can't climb this ladder because there are bodies in the way. Hold up. This man died with a fucking cigarette in his mouth. That's glorious. But yeah, so because Call of Pripyat tends to use a 32-bit engine with a 2GB RAM limit, it can start to run really, really badly when you start adding in, like, extra shit. A good example being the Misery mod, which is, you know, the mod that is the reason that Anomaly, and by extension, never give up your swag, little bandit. What's his name? Fimka Ace. Yeah, he sure was. So, like, Misery, for example, which is the mod that is the reason that Anomaly, and by extension, Gamma and EFP exist. It is like another mod for Call of Pripyat that doesn't actually change anything about the engine itself. So naturally, the game runs like dog shit. Like, you can have, like, me, a fucking setup with, like, an RTX 3080, a fucking i9 10900K, and a huge, really, really good motherfucking, like, overall setup, and it'll still run like absolute dog shit because it has a memory leak and a 2GB RAM limit and a 32-bit engine. Which is why Open Gunslinger, like Open X-Ray Gunslinger, it's such a nice and promising thing to see whenever it gets done. But you generally, like, you know, you want to avoid that. Like, you know, just like mods that just mod Call of Pripyat. So it's why the mods that I sent you, obviously you were already just looking for a mainly vanilla setup anyway. But even if you weren't, I'm not sure I could recommend that many mods for base Call of Pripyat for that exact reason. Upgrade to a 33-bit engine. Oh, were it so easy. KVAT Gurry says, well, that happens when you put a bunch of new scripts and lots of reworked weapon models with 45k polygon on a 32-bit engine. Yeah, the weapon model, like the weapon meshes in Call of Pripyat are like in Gunslinger are stupid high quality. Not to mention it generally upgrades the draw distance, and you've got the other thing is that Gunslinger uses picture-in-picture scopes, which is a system that the X-Ray engine was definitely not made with the intention of ever having. And that can have disastrous effects on your game overall optimization. Which is why I tend to use the mod in Anomaly that thankfully allows me to get basically the best of both worlds, where I get scopes that don't entirely just zoom in the whole screen, but also still have a nice effect in the center, because I use shader-based 2D scopes, which is cool. So all you're seeing is that it's just creating like a weird, like, sort of like pinch or bubble shader in the middle of the fucking screen in the direction of where the scope is. And that's all it is. I'm not doing like picture-in-picture shit that's gonna run my my RAM and GPU into the ground, which is very much appreciated. Working with like an old, busted, and wild engine that is, you know, already kind of held together with like, you know, borscht and hopes and dreams is surprisingly difficult, and people have found all sorts of ways to make it a little bit more forgiving on hardware, both modern and older. Misery was even worse. Yeah, no, Misery was absolute dog shit on the performance. That mod was completely terrible. It was like, because the big thing was that Misery also aimed to like drastically increase your fucking field, like your actual like draw distance and view vision distance. On top of all the other crazy like increases in texture, resolution, and fidelity and overall look that it did. Misery was like, people were like, oh, like, I remember when I first got, like, my first gaming PC, which was basically just, like, something I bought from CyberPower PC, and ended up selling off to somebody else after building a completely bespoke build from scratch, which I now call my Nostromo. My original build, I mainly based its specs around what the Misery, pages, you know, fucking, like, minimum requirements were, which were complete bullshit, because no matter what, there is no minimum requirements that'll be able to run Misery very well, because again, 32-bit engine, 2GB RAM limit, and generally terrible optimized engine. Kim Tusta says duct tape engine from 2001. I think more like 2003 or 4.
Leave him on
This is a lie.
Thank you for the follow, Kvac.
bullshit.
Well, actually, maybe not. I actually don't remember when Shadow of Chernobyl, originally known as Oblivion Lost, properly began its development. I would have to do further research into this inquiry. That's something I can do later, obviously. Also, welcome on in Saraza once again. Haven't heard of Anomaly in ages. I couldn't forget it exists. This game would not allow me to forget that it exists. We have unfortunately run into a fucking, what is it? A blowout is currently happening, but thankfully we are in literally one of the only places in the entire fucking what is it, truck cemetery that actually allows us to be safe. So that's good. Glad to see other Stalker veterans around here. You know it. I've been playing this series for 13 years. I've been playing Stalker for literally half of my lifespan, which is crazy to think about. But knowing that soon I'll basically be playing Stalker for, like, more years than I was, like, you know, basically in school for anything, is honestly going to be kind of cool for me. It's like, Stalker's that important to me. Demir says, I remember seeing, like, a 3-hour video on Shadow of Chernobyl's origins. There are enough feature-length videos about the development of Shadow of Chernobyl to probably fill an entire fucking library. And very few of them really paint it in a positive light. Primarily because, you know, like, the main CEO of GSC Games at the time was kind of a greedy piece of shit, and there was wealth inequality out the fucking wazoo happening there. Which is, of course, well documented as being the entire reason that 4A Games was formed and went on to make fucking, what is it? Metro 2033. Because most of them immediately left GSC as soon as Shadow of Chernobyl was done. And they were like, we're not doing this shit anymore. We're not working at a company where there's like, maybe like 4 fucking cars in the goddamn parking lot and most of them belong to the same guy. Sarah's, I used to play a fuckload of Stalker when I was younger, but at some point I started to get motion sickness from the head bob. In Shadow of Chernobyl? Sarah's, there's a fan patch called Zone Reclamation Project that removes that by default. Would you like me to, like, send it to you in a Discord DM? Also, PK, welcome on in. Chance, could you give PK a shout-out for us, please? does the same, and I'm waiting over a decade for Stalker 2. Oh, don't I fucking know it. Stalker 2 has been canceled and re-announced so many times since I started playing Stalker games that at this point I'm pretty desensitized to it, and the idea of it, like, you know, being, like, delayed or pushed forward in its release doesn't faze me at all. People are like, oh man, Stalker 2 got, you know, like, delayed or whatever. And I'm like, first time? Think of the canteen sip, PK. Here's a little secret, 4A engine is a modified X-ray engine. Oh, of course. And also, multiple mutants in Metro 2033 are actually based on cut mutants from Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl. A good example being the Lurker. I mean, the Watchman from Metro, which originally used to be a Lurker. And its assets were carried over from Stalker when the Lurker was announced to not be in Stalker, and then they just put it into Metro, or at least that's how the rumor has it. So I've heard. Kim Tussis says, honestly, if Stalker 2 weren't spending 10 years in development hell, then it wouldn't have a chance to be good. At this point, it's been in development hell for longer than the original Shadow of Chernobyl was in development, which is both kind of like horrifying and somewhat impressive to be told, but it is interesting to think about. Granted, to say that Stalker 2 had been spending 10 years in development would be just as disingenuous as to say that Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl was truly in development for the time that we think of it as being in development, from its original announcement to its final release. Stalker 2 has probably, if I was being, like, brutally honest, I would argue that Stalker 2 probably started real development back in, like, 2020. I know it's weird to say, but considering Stalker 2 had been cancelled and re-announced multiple goddamn times over the course of its development, I'd argue that its overall kind of like creation was primarily just kind of like people having some assets and saying, we have something, let's make it and let's announce it, and then announcing it before they really had anything to show for it, and then when these assets ended up, you know, usually not really coming to much fruition because there wasn't really a whole lot to show for a game, they would just kind of cancel it. Usually because probably publishers wouldn't offer to... Like, if I'm being honest, here's my theory. Every couple of times that Stalker 2 was announced and then canceled, it's probably because they just kind of announced it when they didn't have any real game to show for it and just had some promising assets and art, like concept art and things. And as soon as they started working on it, they either realized, A, we don't have enough, you know, like, funds and resources to get this done, or they were working on it, and then when attempting to find a publisher, the publisher said, you don't have anything to show for it. We can't really just, like, you know, announce a game and give you the funding when you basically, like, can't even prove to us that a game is being made. So then they would just cancel it, and then just kind of restart the cycle. Not to mention all the, you know, like, constant changing of hands during development because of the people coming in and out of GSC, and now GSC was, you know, the original development offices basically became a war zone. Within a couple of years of the game's most recent announcement. There is evidence to suggest that the original Shadow of Chernobyl was developed in just about a year's time, if not less. It's extremely weird, the development of Slavjank games. And let's not forget, again, Shadow of Chernobyl wasn't originally Shadow of Chernobyl. It was Oblivion Lost, and it was a completely bespoke video game that was then turned into a game about the Chernobyl exclusion zone because the developers went on like a fucking Urbex trip to Chernobyl. Originally, Stalker was something completely different. PK says if Stalker 2 did happen and has been 10 years of development, let's hope it's not another Duke Nukem. And Samir said the same thing. I don't think that... Here's the thing. Let's be real here, Duke Nukem Forever and Daikatana scenarios are primarily things that happen in Western game development. And when it comes to, like, European game development, especially Eurojank and Slavjank, there's a very, very different, like, set of priorities and a very, very different culture when it comes to how games are developed and conceptualized and made. That, I think, makes it very difficult for that to be a possible outcome. It's especially important to note that Duke Nukem Forever was a game that had an absurd amount of money and marketing put behind it. Primarily because originally it was being bankrolled by fucking Apogee Software, who back in the, you know, like, days of, like, mid-90s, early to mid-90s PC gaming, were kind of releasing some of the biggest games you could get on the PC. From, you know, fucking Commander Keen, to your Wolfenstein, to your Rise of the Triad, and even the original Duke Nukems that used to be side-scrolling shoot-'em-ups and platformers. And the pinnacle of PC gaming, you fucking know it. What is it? Then, what is it? So then, like, obviously, you know, you had it going with Apogee, and then Apogee became 3D Realms, and then eventually you had, you know, fucking Gearbox putting money into it, and unfortunately Gearbox siphoned a lot of money from it to put into Borderlands 2, which they also siphoned away from things like Aliens Colonial Marines, which is well documented, thanks to Randy Pitchford being quite keen on leaving behind paper trails of everything he does. But Duke Nukem Forever had a shit ton of money in it, and it was always shooting to be a AAA game, much like the original Daikatana. Stalker and most Slavjank games are primarily built with a budget development in mind. The ceiling of quality and standard... The ceiling of standard and quality for Slavjank is a little bit lower, and because of that, because developers in Slavjank are very rarely pushing themselves to make like a game with insane level of polish, and you as the player know not to expect a video game with insane levels of polish, there's something about Slavjank and Eurojank and budget games made in Eastern Europe that makes them not only kind of, in my opinion, nearly immune to the Duke Nukem Forever and Daikatana type of situation, but even if they were like that, I don't think we would look at it like that. It's hard to explain exactly why, because again, much of it is all like a culture and vibe and priorities thing, but when people are making budget games from the get-go in Europe, compared to a AAA game that comes out looking like a budget game in America, it's a very, very different thing. Stalker says Stalker 2 is going to be Homefront in Ukraine. I will say it is entirely possible that the first 3 games is like opinion and overall, what's the word? Hold on, let me actually get that sip for PK real quick. The first 3 games is overall, view and, what's the word? Portrayal of the Ukrainian government is going to be far different than it was. Let me read some of these chat messages before I actually get into that tangent. The John Romero will make you his bitch game. Yeah, you fucking know it. Ironically, Daikatana is a surprisingly fun game, late game. Like, once you get past the first, like, the slug of the first few levels, Daikatana can actually be surprisingly fun. I feel like a lot of people don't really know that because, you know, people are just kind of used to it being lambasted pretty heavily. And granted, it does deserve to be lambasted, but not to the degree that I think it is. KVAX says, here's what the community know about Stalker 2. In 2012, Stalker 2 was cancelled due to terrible management and GSC ceased to exist. In 2017, GSC reformed and they actually started Stalker developing again in 2019. That, I think, is probably the best way of looking at it, or the most possibly accurate. It is important to know that GSC did dissolve and technically came back together. A big point of skepticism when Stalker 2 was, like, officially re-announced once again in 2019 was just the fact of, like, who's paying for this? Where are they getting the money to reform a game studio and start working on something right off the bat without, like, some type of investment behind it, I guess? And a lot of people still have a lot of skepticism about that, myself included. I'm one of the biggest fans of Stalker that you might know, and because of that, I have a healthy amount of skepticism and I want the game to be the best that it can be. The Mafia? I have heavy doubts that the Bratva would fund a Slavjank game's development, although stranger things have happened. I think it's more likely that I'm not sure, actually. Sarah just said you always end up with a game that tends to have love and heart poured into it. I think that's one of the most important things, is that the Stalker games obviously originally were primarily built with a lot of like budgeting and cost effectiveness in mind, which is why a corpse in the basement of X16 literally just has his texture ripped from a popular dystopian Polish painter's piece of art. Things like that. People like to be like, oh, you know, like Western game developers are fucked up, but like, you know, our Eurojank games don't have that. But like, no, the wealth inequality working on Shadow of Chernobyl was horrible. It's a big part of why GSC ended up falling apart. But for the most part, when it comes down to development of these games, because they're primarily made on a budget, you don't have people coming together and being like, oh, we gotta make, like, you know, something to please our investors or whatever. It's like, no, we're making something because we want to make something cool, and here's how we can make it. It's not going to be the best game you've ever played, but you're certainly going to have memories of it, and shouldn't that be the whole point to begin with? And not to mention also a big part of why my excitement for Stalker 2 was so heavily curbed down over the years is because shit kept happening. Back in late 2021, you had the announcement that Stalker 2 is going to have some of its funding from NFTs, and if you bought one, you'd be in the video game as an NPC. There was that. There was a lot of other shit. Somehow I'm impressed that Stalker 2 has actually managed to avoid the AI art usage in video games controversy, which is something that even Night Dive's remaster of System Shock, let alone the remake of Myst, were anywhere near able to actually dodge. I don't think they could dodge it to begin with, which sucks. But I'm impressed that at the very least, if any of that has been going on with Stalker 2, we certainly haven't heard of it. Yeah, Kim Tustis, you actually chimed in with it right at the exact time. We just don't know that they've done it. And I hate to say it, but considering NFT, like the fucking, like the seal of NFTs was already broken in the game's development, and it wasn't even in development for 2 years at that point, I find it heavily likely. I hate to say it, but if there was, if people came out and were like, hey, Stalker 2's been using AI art in its development, I hate to say it, but I can't say I'd be heavily skeptical of that. I'd find it a little bit not super hard to believe. Sarah's, this is, I find the System Shock AI art thing funny because it was posted by the publisher who had no hand in the actual development. Yeah, it was posted by Atari. Atari, who proceeded to purchase Night Dive. Night Dive had absolutely zero say in any of it, and obviously AI art was not used in it. Night Dive was Atari was using AI art to market the game, which is extremely fucking weird. But none of it was used in the game's development. I know that because Night Dive have some good credibility. The only times the Night Dive game has never actually, wasn't actually really, really fucking good was, again, a publisher's fault. And you know what that publisher was? Surprise, surprise, it was also Atari. Because the remaster of Blood mostly turned out bad because Atari didn't bother to give them the fucking original source code because Atari owned the rights to the source code after GT Interactive went under and was purchased up by Infogrames. After all the dust had settled and all the corporations had been, finished fighting each other like monkeys on a fucking cruise ship deck, fucking Atari were the ones with the rights. And when Night Dive went up to them and said, hey, we need the source code for Blood if you really want us to do this remaster, I can't remember if either they just didn't bother to find it, or if Atari basically just shrugged and said, we don't even know if it still exists anymore. But source code for the original Blood couldn't be found, and Blood, Blood Fresh Supply had to basically be made with reverse-engineered alpha code, and just going off of whatever other source ports they had to use as reference. So yeah, one of the only times that Night Dive games have had any degree of this isn't the greatest shit ever is always because of Atari. So I believe it there. Atari's media guy about to make something up just to fuck Night Dive over. It's really fucked up, and it's really unfortunate to know that Night Dive is now completely under Atari's thumb because they deserve better, but at least they're trucking on as hard as they can. KVAX says Stalker 2 started up first as a startup project, and after they tried to create new games like Cossacks 3. See, there's deep lore. A lot of people don't know that a big part of Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl's original development was primarily bankrolled because of money they made on a fucking RTS game called Cossacks, a game that was surprisingly really, really popular over in Europe and places a little bit other than the United States. It sold well, and a lot of the money from it went towards Stalker. The big problem was that not a lot of the money from it went to the employees who made it, which is, again, why GSC dissolved and many of its employees after Shadow of Chernobyl went on to go form 4A. It's always Atari. I mean, you jest, but it really is. I hate to say it, but I think, obviously, yes, ActiBliz, horrible. Horrible military propaganda publishing shitheads with really bad workplace culture. Naughty Dog, horrible. Fucking EA, horrible greedy fuckheads. Ubisoft, just horrible business practices and bad game development prioritization. But a lot of people probably don't know that I still think, in my personal opinion, one of the publishers who've proven to be one of the worst in recent memory is fucking Atari. And Atari used to have that you know, that badge of shame. It used to be a lot bigger back in the days of like the late 90s and early 2000s when Atari was still generally kind of well known. And then they faded into obscurity and then came back primarily just because of weird mergers of companies that people either don't remember or didn't like, and now they're being merged into other companies that people like even less and remember even less. And now, through all the fire and the flames and the stupid corporate politics, Atari has arisen atop a myriad of bodies of companies that we miss. No different than companies like EA or even THQ Nordic. And now they've bought up another one. Speaking of EA, I was thinking about the whole weird fucking merge that just happened, and seeing like Criterion and EA Gothenburg in the list of developers working on Battlefield has me like fucking with like just the taste of acid in my fucking throat, dude. Corruption always was a thing in Ukraine, so of course the devs won't get any money for game developing. You are unfortunately correct. But, like, okay, on the topic of, like, the EA thing, because some of y'all might not know this, and if you don't, here's your chance to learn it. But, you know, fucking Need for Speed is one of my favorite franchises of all time, okay? Need for Speed was one of the first, like, real game franchises I grew up playing. You know, when I finally stopped playing a weird fucking Russian, American trucking simulator called Hard Truck 18 Wheels of Steel, and educational games or point-and-click games from whatever the fuck, like Pajama Sam and Spy Fox, I was playing Need for Speed. Because my dad got me a box set that had Underground, Hot Pursuit 2, Porsche Unleashed, and High Stakes. A hell of a fucking lineup. Obviously, 2 games in that lineup were, ironically, the worst versions of those games that could be played. Because the PC port of Hot Pursuit 2 sucked compared to the PS2, and the PC port of High Stakes sucked compared to the PS1 version. Ironic. But I did grow up playing Need for Speed, and Need for Speed is a franchise I still play because I love it to death. I think its stylish, arcadey style of racing that owes heavily to modern street racing and import racing is definitely a really beloved thing. And even the earlier, you know, Need for Speed titles still give me a nice Top Gear kind of vibe. Maybe not as much as Gran Turismo or Forza, but it is what it is. But to go onto the fucking thing, you know, to log into Twitter and see that EA Gothenburg, who, you know, used to be Ghost games, or became Ghost, and then, of course, not to mention EA Black Box, which ended up dissolving, and then most of them went on to go work at Gothenburg, which, of course, became Ghost, and Criterion, who started out making fucking Burnout, and the first and last FPS I think they even made was Black, which I played last week. It's extremely disheartening to see these developers who made some of the best goddamn racing games of the 6th console generation, and even 7th in the case of Need for Speed, just being moved over to the Battlefield mines, and where I presume they will never ever see the light of day again. Just like, you know, developers like Raven Software after fucking, you know, the Singularity didn't turn over well. Which was mainly, you know, Activision's fault. Like, let's see here, right? I'm going to be honest, this is not to demean or infantilize the developers of EA, Gothenburg, and Criterion, and it's not to downplay their achievements. But I'm asking this more as like a criticism of EA's allocation of resources. What the fuck? Do you think the developers of Need for Speed and Burnout are going to be able to add to the development of Battlefield? What do you think they're going to add? Yes, I know it is well documented that developers, what is it? I think either Criterion or Ghost were contacted and proceeded to add a little bit of coding assistance on the development of Mass Effect Andromeda to make the Mako not a fucking pain to drive. But, like, in a game that has already had, like, the vehicle systems that Battlefield has, what do you think that the people who made, like, Need for Speed are going to be able to add to how a fucking tank drives? Don't fucking tell me they're going to work on things other than the goddamn, like, you know, driving mechanics. Because, again, the last shooter that fucking Criterion made was Black. That was over 15 fucking years ago. How do you think they're going to add to this? It's completely unnecessary. So what are you going to do then, EA? You're going to suck people up from other developments because, one, the last Need for Speed game that Criterion made, because you got mad that Need for Speed Heat didn't perform well, because you personally kneecapped its advertisement and marketing when you gave them an ultimatum saying, hey, we're never, if you can choose to release a game that won't have any monetization or microtransactions in it, but we're not going to market it, and then you got mad at them because the game didn't sell well because you didn't market it. And then you basically kicked Ghost off the project and brought Criterion on, and then gave them basically gave them an unwinnable battle by also having them release a game that you surprise released without any hint of a fucking release date at all. So you basically had no pre-order money, and you know, legions and legions of content creators who love the Need for Speed series, who are just ready off the fucking bat to make, you know, to basically do free marketing for you, couldn't, because they didn't know when the game was being released. And then because the game didn't sell well because you basically gave them an unwinnable battle, you had the gall to send Criterion over to Battlefield now too. And now you have way too many fucking developers working on Battlefield, and I imagine you're now going to complain that the development cost of Battlefield is going to be so much that it justifies raising its price tag to $70 or $80, when it is your fucking fault. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be like AVGN about this shit, but, like, come on, somebody's gotta. Payback says, I love Singularity and can't imagine how good it would be if Activision never screwed it up. Yeah, me too. It's a real shame. It could have been, like, you know, a fucking, like, you know, really goated sim shooter thingy. It was shaping up to be better than BioShock, I feel. Primarily because, you know, Singularity wasn't just, like, you know, a fucking, like, plot point retread of an existing video game. Kim Tessa says, to management, all developers are identical and interchangeable. Oh, how I wish you weren't correct on that one. Nick says, gaming politics hurts my soul sometimes. Oh, you want to talk about how, like, you know, fucking, like, between studio politics and shit can be completely septic? Look at how the two different studios that were developing Mass Effect Andromeda at the same time were treating each other. Or rather, how the studio that was treating developing Dragon Age Inquisition was treating the developers who were working on Mass Effect Andromeda. Honestly, either or. The internal, like, the many different subsidiaries of BioWare were kind of all just kind of, like, ready to kill each other over the development of Andromeda. And it was all EA's fault for fanning the fucking flames. They sat them down in a fucking forest during the dry season with a bunch of matches and flint, and were like, how the fuck did you start a fire? Here, get some gasoline and put it out. Yeah, fuck you too. Why do you think I haven't played a Battlefield game that's, like, you know, released recently in ages? I've been relapsing into Battlefield 4 with Nix and Chance, and we've been having an absolute blast at it. You know why? Because Battlefield 4 at least, you know, like, has, like, multiplayer that, like, didn't have, like, 50 different goddamn studios working on it. That's not to say that EA doesn't, you know, like to fucking, like, execute studios like it's a goddamn witch hunt, because they do. For fuck's sake, think about how many people we've lost recently. Pandemic's gone, EA Redwood, not to mention Visceral, which now, you know, most of its developers moved on to go work on, fucking Callisto Protocol, and that game didn't go over well. So what are they left with? Battlefield 1 and Bad Company 2 are the only... I wouldn't say that. Bad Company 2 is still the best one, in my opinion, but I have been enjoying my time relapsing into Battlefield 4. Not to mention, I think Battlefield 3 had a fantastic story and really fun multiplayer as well. Obviously, you know, Battlefield 4 basically improved on everything in 3 to a genuinely kind of surprising degree. But for the most part, 3 and 4 are still fantastic games that definitely deserve your time. I enjoyed a little bit of 1, but I didn't really just get into 1 that much. It did put a nice little glint in my eye to know that most people, a lot of people, like, or rather enough people, were dissatisfied with 1 to the point where Battlefield 4 is surprisingly still pretty well populated now, along with 3. I think Bad Company 2 would be the same if, you know, EA actually allowed people to purchase and play it, which unfortunately they don't anymore. Thanks, EA. You fucks. Why am I carrying old 357 rounds? Let's toss these. KVX says, I can't describe the hate, what I feel on EA, because they killed a shit ton of franchises in my beloved Command & Conquer. Rest in peace, Pandemic, as well. We'll miss Dead Space. We'll miss Need for Speed. I guess we can add Need for Speed and Burnout to that. Because we haven't had a new Burnout in fucking ages. And now, it's even worse. Because Codemasters are now part of EA. They got absorbed. They got absorbed by EA. So now most of Codemasters' like older racing titles, especially the F1 series, are no longer purchasable. F1 is going to be part of their EA Sports lineup. The newest Grid game got released by EA. Apparently it wasn't as bad as Grid 2, I think. But I do find it really funny that like everyone in the comments of Grid Legends is saying that Grid Legends is like definitely a downgrade from Grid 2019. And I'm like, I think it really speaks to me. It speaks to a lot that reception of Grid 2 was so bad that people don't even talk about it. There was Grid 2019 and now Grid Legends. There wasn't a game in between those. What are you talking about? All the guns feel samey in BF3 and 4. Everything is a 30-round AR. I can't say I agree, honestly. With how much I've been playing it recently and had to, obviously, get used to different lineups to unlock a lot of shit, I've been using a lot of, really diverse and varied weapon loadouts, and I can't say I agree on that front. Nyx's Burnout Heart. Absolutely, Burnout's great. I loved Burnout Revenge and Burnout Legends when I played them both. Isn't there supposed to be a government agency to make sure you can't just buy like 5 gajillion companies without consequences? If there was, I wonder if they might have been, if it might have been defunded or worse, dissolved when Trump was in office, which wouldn't be the first time something like that had happened. EA is like an evil demon kitty absorbing and killing everything in their path. Well, it's not just EA. There's also THQ Nordic, Embracer Group, ActiBliz, a whole lot of different companies. Samir says, yes, Sasha, I do use the 416 in BF4. I mean, with exceptions to the M16, the 416 is the earliest AR platform rifle you can access in those games. In fact, I don't think if there was an M16 in Bad Company 2, people weren't using as much as they were using the 416, so that makes sense. Also, I saw your comment about BattleBit. I do need to try BattleBit at some point. It got defunded in the 80s by Reagan. I believe it. If there's any motherfucker that would be to blame for something like that, it would be that son of a bitch. Also, Kentus says, don't worry, I saw your tea time redeem. I'm going to put it on as soon as I go to my BRB state in a little bit. As I've been tangenting for a good long time tonight about the games industry and how I feel about it. What a wacky coincidence. The BF3 M16A3 was dummy powerful. I believe it. I didn't really end up playing BF3 for long enough to unlock that. Because as soon as a little bit after BF3 dropped, I entered my, modern military shooters are bad phase, which is kind of embarrassing. Because there's a ton of merit to those games. It's just that most of that merit isn't present anymore, especially with Call of Duty quite literally being military propaganda now, as it is unfortunately now very well documented that the Call of Duty games are funded by the United States Department of Defense, quite literally classifying them as military propaganda. I don't know when that started or ended, but it's been like that for a while, at least with, since Modern Warfare 2019. And the fact that that didn't even surprise me is frankly kind of embarrassing. Tangents are fun. That's true. Imtusta says you don't owe me tea time. No, but I would like some tea to calm my fucking nerves, personally. Well, I got those military things for, the fucking faction badges for, what's his name? We've got to grab encrypted documents for Barkeep and a locked case for Skinflint. We also have a killing thing to trade into Sid, but I'm not planning on going into the Cordon anytime soon. Oh, right, I was checking to see if I have a fucking Chimera Claw here. Did I sell it to the scientists? Or maybe I never had one and I'm mixing that up with my personal. Joke's on them, I'm too stupid to care. I want to shoot zombies with satisfying gunplay. I suppose I can't blame you, especially because it wasn't really something that was well documented until literally last October. Avex says, I wouldn't be surprised if Arma 4 will be the official training game for US military. I don't know, you'd be surprised. They pick pretty shit games for training. I mean, it's well documented that one of the first, like, games the US military used to train its people was, like, a fucking weird, shitty Brazilian FPS game called the Varginha Incident. They basically used, like, they basically trained Marines with a fucking Doom clone about aliens and Area 51, but Brazilian. It was insane. Ugh. I hate the fact that, like, Modern Warfare 2 is trying to railroad people into 3, like, already. The game's not even been out a full year, and you're already trying to, like, railroad people into the next one. Granted, yes, you're, like, you know, obviously, like, you know, letting people carry over all their stuff, but at this point, 3 just looks more like a fucking expansion. And don't even get me started on that fucking cutscene when you load up the game, and Graves is right fucking there, and somebody's like, hey, didn't you, like, die in a tank in South America? And he's like, well, you see, I wasn't in that tank. No, fuck you. You were in that tank. You were in that tank and you fucking know it. They retconned you. God, I hate Graves so fucking much. It felt like a monkey's paw. I wish for the new Call of Duty to not be private military company propaganda. Your wish is my command. The game is now just US military propaganda instead. Oh lordy. You'd assume they let him die? I assume that Activision had better care for its, like, continuity than fucking LucasArts and Disney in the MCU. Clearly I was wrong. I guess I'll just have to be better about that now, huh? Motherfucker. Nobody wants to sell SA-58 mags. They would never kill a character they can monetize. Yeah, you're so fucking right, especially in the case of fucking Ghost. Especially in the case of Ghost. I hated that, like, fucking Price and Gaz are, like, barely in the fucking game. And they were my favorites. Thank you for the stretch redeem, PK, and the canteen sip. I appreciate it. Let me stretch for a second. Hold up. Ghost and Captain Price are having a baby Yoda. It'll be on all the merch. Oh god. We ain't killing Makarov in Modern Warfare 3. That was the thing that I loved about the original Modern Warfare 3 ending. That game's story, I can't remember most of the beats in it, except for, like, the fucking, like, Wall Street raid, Soap dying, and Makarov dying. And the main thing I remember the most is that they made sure that Makarov was impossible to bring back. Like, no, this motherfucker is the deadest that dead will ever be. Like, fucking shot a bunch of times, fucking had like a long-ass winch cable wrapped around his neck and thrown through a glass ceiling. The only way that motherfucker could have possibly been, like, deader is if they fucking burned him alive while it was happening. I was very excited to see that they didn't, like, kill him in an explosion or something. Because that seems like the thing. It's like 9 times out of 10, here's how you fucking, like, you know, give a guy a technically on-screen death, but also technically not on-screen, is you make sure it's an explosion. Because then you can still bring that dude back. But they didn't do that with Makarov originally. And now it looks like, Makarov will come back due to necromancy. Honestly. Like, there were a couple of story beats in Modern Warfare 2's story that I kind of liked, but it wasn't anywhere near as enjoyable as Modern Warfare 2019. That game had, like, the best fucking campaign mode of any game in the series in years. And, like, now, like, all the characters are, like, fucking, you know, like stupid monetizing things, and they're, like, you know, fucking constantly being brought back from the dead, or they're, like, just being stipulated on ways that people didn't ask for, myself least of all. It's kind of annoying to see. We all know 50 Cent was shot 9 times and he came back for more video games. He did. Was he shot after his first game? Or was his first game called Bulletproof because he got shot? This is like a chicken and egg kind of thing. It is funny, though. I like to imagine that his first game was called Bulletproof and then he got shot. Because that'd be a cool twist of fate. But it's more likely that he got shot and then he named his game Bulletproof because he's still alive. That is kind of badass, honestly. That's a cool flex. Still waiting for Girls Frontline operators in Modern Warfare 3. God. Someone had a lot of fun playing that mod for COD 4, didn't they? Man, can we talk about how good COD 4 was? Fucking game was goated as hell. I'm not immune to it. I haven't touched Girls Frontline in a fat minute, if I'm being honest, but the time that I did spend on it was nice, I do have to admit. Modern Warfare 2 CR? Can't criticize Girls Frontline the way I want to without getting banned. I mean, I'm not gonna ban you, Kim Tustis. Go off. What are we also looking for? We need dog meat. We need dog meat to give to Freedom, right? Did I cook all of it? I might have cooked all of the dog meat that I was keeping as a quest for Freedom. Yeah, I don't have it on me. That's not good. Ain't touching Girls Frontline, but I like everything about it but the actual game. That is somewhat valid. I wonder if they're gonna make a sequel. Why would Freedom even want dog meat? They just need food for their kitchens. Dogs are pretty easy to obtain meat from, but, like, I don't really go out actively hunting for them, you know? I'm pretty sure if I went out into the Dark Valley, I could probably get some pretty fucking quick. Boys Frontline. Now that's a game I'll play. I need a Girls Frontline, but it's, like, just swapped and everybody's a twink. It all just looks like the fucking, like, you know, dude lineup in V Shoujo or fucking, Niji Sanji or whatever the hell they are. Girls Frontline 2 is an open beta, but it's XCOM styled. Okay, so it's more of like a tactics game than like the gameplay of Girls Frontline, which I honestly am not sure how to even describe properly. I'm gonna eat these rat skewers, don't tell Chance. He'd never forgive me. I mean, honestly, an XCOM-styled thing, I'd prefer that over an RTS. I like XCOM's gameplay for it being more of like a squad tactics game. You know what I'm saying? There's merit to that. So it's about almost 7 p.m. I'm not trying to be going out in the zone at night, so I'm probably gonna go to sleep and then we'll wake up the next morning and we'll start grabbing some more of these quests for Freedom. Maybe see if we can get some dogs out in the Dark Valley, but we're not seeing a lot of dogs. They tend to stick to mainly like the Darkscape, the Meadow, the fucking garbage and the cordon. Sometimes the Great Swamps, but the hordes just aren't big enough like they used to be in Shadow of Chernobyl. Kill for a Division style game though. I mean, you'd think that they'd have enough money to do that, but I'm not sure that's the type of game that Sunborn ever wants to make. And to be honest, I think the main reason we don't have to worry about it being, like, ridiculously monetized, because let's be real. Girls Frontline is probably the least heavily monetized gacha game I've ever played. I only spent money twice over, like, the years of me playing that game, and both, like, the first time, it was, like, literally just, like, the smallest possible thing, because buying it came with, like, the free FNFAL character, and a bunch of resources, like a free bundle. And then after that, it was for, like, another thing. Like, they constantly give you free rewards and free shit all the fucking time. And as long as you're, like, playing the game and doing stuff, it's nigh impossible to ever actually have to spend money on it. Unless you're, like, terrible. But, like, it's not the most, like, heavily monetized gacha game. I never had to wail for it, and I'm impressed with that. But, you know, I think a big part of why it's not so heavily monetized is because it's a really simple game, and it doesn't have, like, a shit ton of systems and stuff you need to develop for. It's a pretty simplistic game, all things considered. And you can take that however you'd like to. All right. I'm going to get up real quick. I'm going to make some tea, grab a snack, and then I'll be ready for the, the second half of the stream once we get my fucking halftime BRB done. I will be right back, friends. Don't go anywhere. I love you guys. I'll be right here. Hello, hello. I'm back. I'm back. I made up some tea. I'm chilling. I actually just had an apple fritter, so I'm gonna have some green tea to go along with it. I figured some green tea is good to keep my energy up into the night, and it's probably good to ease my stomach, because I'm still having like a weird stomach ache kind of feeling tonight. This is probably a good idea. Samir says, welcome back, Sasha. Thank you. Alright. Let me bring us back down to the bar real quick. Hi everyone, welcome back. In case anyone might have joined during my BRB state, I am Too Much Sasha, the Chernobyl battle maid. I came here as a mercenary before disappearing for 2 weeks under mysterious circumstances, reappearing with a tattoo on my arm, and a new goal. I cook, clean, and hunt all for the right price, and when I'm not doing any of those things, I'm in the back of this bar, streaming horror and FPS games. And every Tuesday I play Stalker, which is what we're finishing up here tonight. Knives says, welcome back. Also, at some point, I need the Sasha Pony reference. Huh. Let me just DM it to you real fast. Evil Sasha be like, not enough Sasha. Here, you know what, Knives? Since I'm still waiting for my tea to cool down, let me just send that to you, like, literally right now. Have it organized by artists. There you go. And it's sent. I love doing pony sonas. Awesome! I may yet add it to the fridge. I've been needing to update the fridge with newer art, so it's a good idea. Sasha Pone indeed. Don't ask me what she fits in. I'm not saying that one on stream again. She's so cute. Oh, thank you. You're the best, Knives. So yeah, I got some green tea here. I need to make a run to a farmer's market at some point to fucking refill on raw honey, because I'm starting to run low after constant tea time redeems on stream. But it is what it is. You know I know. I do know you know. So, what are we gonna do for the rest of the night? We've got jobs to get in the Dark Valley and the and Agriprum. So I think we'll head to the Dark Valley, pick up that job, then head back to the garbage, and then Agriprum. After Agriprum, we'll clear out some mercenaries in the Wild Territory and call it a night. It'll be a good money-making run. I haven't spent that much on ammo, considering we were mostly fighting Gopniks. And usually clearing out some mercenaries provides me with some good new equipment. It might be FAL mags, hopefully maybe ammunition repair recipes, God knows what else. But it'll be a nice little run on the way back home as usual. While we continue to prepare ourselves for the inevitable raid on X19. I'm hoping to be able to be ready for that, at least like by the end of the month, but given that a lot of what I need is going to be heavily based on RNG, it's probably going to be just like whenever I can, but I'm mainly going to be pushing towards that. At this point, the big thing is, do I want to spend extra money right now on a science suit to facilitate like artifact hunting to make more money? I think I might do that. Because as much as killing is really my main skill, it's not going to be quite as profitable as I'd like it to be. Is the bar an in-game screenshot, or did you pay an artist to recreate it? This is a video. This is actually a looping video you're seeing, because the TV up above me plays a... It's weird. It's weird how TV screens in Stalker work, because they're just a collection of textures and then a script that displays them in a sequence. But this is a video. I literally did record this in Stalker Anomaly's bar. So I did not pay an artist to recreate it. Maybe I might someday. We'll see. I have a feeling if I'm paying an artist to recreate all of my assets, it's probably going to be for a complete lore rewrite, which I would hope I never have to do, because I really like being what I am.
What the dog doing?
Indeed, Captain Spaghetti, what the dog doing? That'll be nice, but that's about it. So let's get back to Stalker then, shall we? Alright. Right when Sickness Unto Foolish Death was playing, what a good fucking song that is. What the maid doing? I am getting this zone bred. I started out the stream talking about the things that I will need in order to facilitate a successful run at Lab X19 later in this month, and we are presently working towards that. Currently, my intake fan smells of smoke, Because I think somebody in the neighborhood is either burning, having a barbecue or burning something on their fireplace. Or something else is burning out front. No clue. Maybe it's burning leaves. Sascha bred the zone. Sumir. Sit down with me. What's going on? What's going on? You got something to tell me? She wants to smoke. I love that fucking meme of the fucking Capra demon from Dark Souls where it just says he wants to smoke. It's really funny. It's just a really funny, what is it, mannerism. Give an entirely new meaning after the Canada wildfires earlier this summer. Ugh. God, my fucking filter for my intake fan did not look good after that. Probably a barbecue? Maybe. I don't know who'd be doing a barbecue in October. Probably somebody just burning the dead leaves they've raked. Although the leaves haven't really started falling off in enough capacity. They don't do that right at the end of September. It takes them a little while. You were just teleporting bread? I don't teleport bread. Teleporting technology is actually surprisingly hard to come by here in the zone. That's not to say it doesn't exist, but it's just a little bit hard to get access to it. Get your head out of the CNPP. Alright, so we'll head over to Dark Valley. I didn't want to go through the fucking, army, what is it, the truck cemetery, because that brings us out right here near the fucking bandit base, and I don't really want to have my guys get shot at. If it were like a rainy, gloomy day, that would be viable, considering, you know, it'll be a lot easier to, like, a lot harder to be spotted, but we're not so lucky today. If we're going to be heading through to Yantar as well, it's a good thing we probably have vodka on us. I do need to drink some water to counteract some of this radiation now. Start off today with a nice thing of water. Ah, that's good. I will never get sick of green tea with honey. I presume this is jasmine green tea, or just some other Chinese blend of green tea. That ends up proving to be my favorite. A little bit of ginseng, with white tea in it helps as well, if I can get my hands on it. It's hard to find white tea where I am, though. But, tea's tea. I do like it. Now, I do need to stop at my old job to get my hands on some more tea, and I keep putting that off. I fear the time is fast approaching where I will not be able to get my old employee discount, because most of the people working there that used to work with me are basically going to be gone. What is it? Because the old manager that I used to work for is completely gone now. I was like, hey, when do we close? And he was like, oh, I quit 3 weeks ago, but we close at 5. And it's really funny, because as soon as he told me he quit, I said, congratulations, my man. Nick says I should make some tea. You should. Speaking of Girls Frontline, I found a Vector figure yesterday on a special in the mail. Oh, nice. Hey, where are my men at? Oh, they're all the way back there. Captain Spaghetti says, do you know the name of a Pokemon? Yeah, you did! You said it backwards when telling me that it exists. God, that's good. I mean, I've done that recently. Today, I said, what is it? I'll see it when I believe in it. And I was like, did I actually just say that shit? And then there was, of course, during the debut, the infamous dip your bucket in a mop incident. I do tend to mix things up. I think it's the estrogen on my part. Hold up. I need to bring my boys over here. So we're going to be heading to the Dark Valley. We're just going to grab that box and leave. And then we're going to come right over to Agriprum. And from Agriprom, we're going to go right to Yantar, trade in the vodka to Chef, see what he'll give us for that. This is an HK MP7. Don't want this. It really sucks because, like, there's actually, like, I've said it before, but there's an actual mod that makes the MP7 take, because, like, a lot of people don't know this until, like, they open up the game's debug mode. But, the original MP7's actual cartridge, the 4.7 bottleneck, is in Anomaly. You can use it. As is 50 BMG, which is primarily used by the M82 sniper rifle. But for the purposes of balancing and also not having to code like 60 fucking ammo types, 4.7 was what is it? It's still in the game, but the MP7 is always converted to using fucking 9x19 caliber, and the M82 rifle primarily uses either 338 Lapua or 12.7 rather than 50 BMG. Dwap's MP7 the real loser of the PDW era. Well, you know what? I don't know. I wouldn't say you can be a loser if you're in Half-Life 2. It's a Heckler and Koch product. I'm not that big of a Heckler and Koch simp. I'm sorry. I love my G36, but that's about it. I don't get the hype behind the 416. I'll just take a fucking Daniel Defense Mark 18. Thank you very much. What kind of musket is this gun thing you're talking about? Ah, I see you're doing a bit. Do you sell FAL cartridges? He does! Ooh, he does because he sells an FAL. He sells the SA-58 Austrian style, which is a modernized... Oh, how you wound me. I didn't say they were bad, I just said I'm not into them. You can love your 416 all you like, I'm just not interested in it. I mean, don't get me wrong. There is a level of respect I hold for the classics like the MP7 and also the MP5, but like I'm sorry, I'm just not into them that much. You're kidding? I figured as much. Yeah, I'm buying these. More magazines for my SA-58 when I finally decide to fucking get it working is probably a good idea. However, I do need more parts for it, so if I see more 7.62 NATO weapons, I'm going to have to fucking focus on getting those all fixed up for me. Breaking Samir's heart just like that. Nah, Samir's made of sterner stuff than that. And we just got a new engineering manual, so let's see what it says. Yes! 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 Oh, fellas! Fellas, we can make the fucking better night vision goggles. After all these years. Oh my god, we finally have the recipe to make the double tube night vision. And I have the recipe to make the quad tube too, so once I make these, I can just make that immediately. Guys, this is amazing. We don't have to have our night vision looking like this anymore. Like, sure, it doesn't look bad right now, but when it's nighttime, you literally can't see shit with Gen 1 knots. Thank you for the night vision goggles, by the way. So we got better nods. We got mags for my SA-58. The Austrian-style SA-58 doesn't look terrible, but its larger barrel and everything means increased weight, when I'm generally not really going to be expecting to need the extended barrel length for longer range engagements anyway. Not when I've got this. Is that a snork? Yeah. Old Army Model 1860. If those exist in the zone, I haven't found one. We don't get that many Americans out here. I might be one of the only ones. It's mainly Slavs, Ukrainians, Russians, occasionally your occasionally your British soldier of fortune, sometimes even French foreign legionnaires, but that's about it. When I ask my model mom if she can do NVGs for my avatar, I can send you the NVGs that I got. These are a pre-made asset that I found and just had my model rig for me. I can just straight up send them to you. And before I worry about getting a rifle for my character, I do need to make sure I have like an actual proper reference to give to somebody, which I don't really have right now. I'm going the wrong way. I also need to heal myself and maybe do something about my currently very low energy, so hoping my beret doesn't clash with it. It shouldn't. That quest will probably finish itself. Uh-oh. What are you guys shooting at? We should get out of here. We don't need to be here. I mean, unless you meant like a stylistic sense, rather than like, you know, like actual, live 2D, like, mechanics and shit. Granted, I don't have hair. So, I mean, I don't have a hat. I have hair. I got lots of hair. I'm a fluffy bitch, but I don't have a hat, so I don't have to worry about anything like clashing like that. Samir with night vision would be good. I think everything looks good with night vision. It's kind of like how I think everybody generally looks better with glasses. That's a snork. Damn, they're tanky. And that's a flesh falling into an anomaly. I forgot to turn the fucking game volume up after that last, emission. I should probably just have a button on my fucking, stream deck that's just, like, automatically turns the volume down when an emission happens, and then automatically turns it back up when it's over. Calm stealth attire at some point? You should! That could be really good. I wonder if my model mom will be capable of doing a rifle. I'm confident she would. I'd insist on paying her a solid amount for it, though. Still gotta beat the Splinter Cell games. I ain't even played Splinter Cell. I recently was given a lot of codes to basically own them, but I haven't put them in anywhere because I've been too fucking busy all this time. Is that a fucking Bureau? No, it's a controller. Now, where is he? Ah, shit! Oh, this is bad. Where is he? Got him. Okay, now we're good. You idiots are going to die. Ouch! Why is a dude here shooting at me? Oh, because he's zombified. And we just lost somebody, so I probably should have saved. But we're out. Oh yeah, Sumir, you showed me them. I might. There's a couple of people I'm looking at. Penelope's one of them. But considering how well my artist was able to do my vest and the mags on it, it's got me thinking. If she can and will, then I will probably hit up my main model artist, just for consistency of art style, you know? Fucking gopniks. And I did not mean to reload. Let me polish the pistol. Oh, oh. Holy shit. Holy shit. I was like, hey, I was gonna pull out my pistol and then boom. Man, fucking just straight blasted. Like, he came out of fucking nowhere. Jesus. That's some scary shit. That's fucking terrifying. There have occasionally been moments. I think shotgunners are probably a scarier enemy in any game than like most monsters. A man with a shotgun is the most terrifying thing a human being can ever face. Does the mag mod you have also include manually loading animations? Define that. What do you mean by like manually loading? If you mean like animations for loading the ammunition into the magazine, no. If you mean animations for like loading bullets straight into your like breech, no. In fact, most mods in the weapons in this mod also don't have animations for loading for checking your ammo. The only weapons that I know of in my arsenal that do have them are weapons that are specifically animated by Berrycat. She did animate them to have ammo check animations. Where? Motherfucker, that hurts. Now, where's that guy I clapped? Where's his body? It'd be neat. It would be neat. But animations are a lot of work. I mean, hell, I'm sure maybe somebody's thinking about making it at some point. Generally speaking, the ammo check mod hasn't been around for super long, and not everybody plays with the magazines mod. I don't know. I'm still looking I'm still thinking about looking into fucking EFP. So hey, if they have anything like that there, I'll definitely let you know. Okay, so I gotta buy the vodka and the FAL mags off this guy. Belka Teddy. Well, I don't care who you were. You're no one tonight. Sand in his hair, salt on his skin, he smelled of the sea. And I cursed like a fucking sailor. Sascha, don't quote the Acacia Strain challenge, impossible. What are you doing at an unlit campfire, my man? Generally speaking, animations for things in Stalker are kind of like very specific. Like the animations for drinking and like, you know, using food and drug items are all like secondary add-ons that I've installed. They don't come packaged. What's your opinion about Metro Exodus? I have not played it despite owning both it and its enhanced edition. I play through Metro 2033 basically once a year, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. I was actually talking at length tonight about the development of 2033. Wow, that thing's expensive. Just like one mag makes so much of a fucking difference with the price. But I haven't played much of Last Light, or I've played it on stream a decent amount, but I didn't really enjoy Last Light's story, though its gameplay was fun. So I own Exodus, but I have not played it yet. I have been meaning to. I will say, as a general rule, I kind of lost interest in the Metro series once they actually left the Metro. The claustrophobic feeling of being down in the stations below versus the desolate winters above made for an atmosphere and overall aesthetic that I could really get behind. And Exodus kind of departing from both of those is kind of a big part of why I generally have not really found myself super interested in it. Nav says, you reminded me, I've worn the Isabel Acacia Strain shirt to work and gotten so many compliments and like 2 people checking out the band from it. Very good. Very good. You're doing the Lord's work. More people gotta listen to the Acacia Strain. Exodus became something else. It certainly seems that way. I'd be willing to give it a fair shake if and when I end up getting the time to do so. just became Train Exodus. I mean, it's technically still the Metro because you're on a train. I just generally thought the plot of Last Light wasn't terribly interesting to me. I wasn't really concerned with a lot of this. I felt like the overall story of the first, like, Metro was understandable. Who the fuck is this guy shooting at? Are these guys having, like, a fucking war right now? What are they shooting at? Oh, it's a pseudo dog. Whoa! Last Light fall a little, but Exodus gets exciting. I'm not giving spoilers. Thank you. Yeah, like the story of Artyom trying to protect his home station was cool. I liked it, and I really got into it. And the story of Last Light kind of seemed stupid because Artyom realized at the end of 2033 that killing the Dark Ones was a terrible fucking idea. And it's literally just him basically being railroaded into complete, like, into finalizing their extermination by people who are supposed to be his friends, and it sucks. Also, I'm just upset because the game tore my heart out and stomped on it with the entire situation with Pavel. I was like, damn, this homie really is a fucking, you know, he's a brother to me, man. We're in this shit together. And then he turns out to be a fucking traitor. Because the whole point of it was that killing the Dark Ones was not the right choice that he made. And Artyom is supposed to carry a lot of internalized guilt about that. He's supposed to be justifiably very upset that he literally exterminated an entire race of people just because of a misunderstanding. Which is more than you can say for people who happen to run our country right now. And that sucks, you know? So to see, like, what pissed me off about Last Light was that all the characters that I loved about 2033, all of them are fucking assholes in Last Light. Ullman is like a piece of shit. Khan is like cracking about like your homies dying all the time. And it's like, fuck off, dude. Like, I understand you're supposed to be genuinely kind of stoic and not really into the whole like killing thing, but you're basically like preying on someone's downfall at this point. That's not the Khan that I know. And just that, and Miller is like constantly barking orders at you. It doesn't seem like the same Miller that he was in the first game when, you know, he's like, oh yeah, no, we'll go and talk to the fucking council about it. We'll save your station, homie. And one of the scenes about fucking 2033 that stuck with me was the way that, you know, like, obviously they kind of like don't really show you the entire like council meeting in Polis, because what would be the point of that? There wouldn't really be much of a point of that. So like, you know, like, and then like when the fucking council basically says, no, we're not going to save your station, and then fucking, you know, what's his name, Miller is like, can you fucking believe it, dude? Like, they're really not gonna help you? That's fucked up. I'm behind something. Alright. I see this is gonna take us a little while. They moved from we're a family here in the Metro to fuck this and fuck you. Yeah, like the camaraderie of man, I understand, was tenuous at best in 2033, because like you've got an entire neo-Nazi party and an entire like, you know, fucking what is it, like worst of the Soviet Union revival party all happening at once. And then you got your regular bandits who, you know what, brigands and bandits and robbers and all that are to be expected in a setting of this nature. Neo-Stalinists, yeah. And like, so you got like the fucking Fourth Reich and the Red Line. So it's like, okay, obviously, like, you know, the unity of humanity to stand together and withstand this horrible tragedy is obviously tenuous at best in this universe. That is okay. What's not okay is the fact that, like, even the people who should be on your side are, like, so fucking ridiculous. Like, obviously, you know, like again, let's look at Polis. Polis are constantly talked up as being, like, the fucking heroes of the Metro. They're like, we're going to stand against the Reds, we're going to stand against the Nazis, we're going to stand against the mutants and the bandits, we're going to protect the common man. But right from the get-go, when you actually get to Polis, it is extremely clear that Polis doesn't give a fuck about the little guy. They care about the people that are considered to be worth protecting in their eyes. You know, they care about scientists, soldiers and warriors, people with knowledge that is necessary to them. People with knowledge that they can make use of, or skills they can make use of. It is heavily implied from a pretty early state on, like right when you get to Polis in person for the first time in 2033, both the novel and the game, that Polis are generally kind of like, they're kind of like opportunistic and shitty, and they don't care about like the common man and the intrinsic value of human life. At this point, if you're not somebody that has something that can be offered to Polis, whether it's like killing ability or your mind, then you're not worth it to them. Which is why they basically, you know, it's the reason that I always felt was the reason for why they basically said, no, we're not gonna, you know, waste resources on dealing with Polis. Or perhaps I'm misreading the entire thing, and the reason they didn't stand up for Polis was because they knew that the Dark Ones weren't really a threat. That's also a possibility, but I don't entirely buy it. So, like, again, the unity of mankind in Metro 2033, the original game, is hardly, you know, bulletproof. No pun intended. So you got Nazis, you got the Neo-Stalinists, you got Polis who are heavily utilitarian, and then you got just like generally weird fuckheads like the people at fucking you know, the people at fucking Market Station who are like huge greedy pieces of shit who care way too much about loans and debts. You got scumbags in Hansa, you got your bandits, you got everything. Like, Metro 2033 goes like an extra mile to have you killing more of your fellow man than killing the monsters that put everybody in the Metro to begin with. And they do have Artyom agonize about that, you know? He's like, oh, I'd killed more of my fellow men than I'd killed any mutants. But it's like, well, who's the person who decided to do that? Who woke up in the morning and put a fucking double-barreled shotgun in his hand and said, tonight, I'm gonna go kill dudes? Obviously not Artyom, but it's like he does kind of keep allowing himself to get wrapped up in shit. Granted, when you're dealing with people like, you know, the neo-Nazis, I don't really think there's an option in there aside from killing. I don't consider Nazis to be my fellow man, and neither should you. That is fair, that is a wartime situation. But, like, I'm talking about, like, generally speaking, Artyom doesn't really kill anybody that isn't, like, trying to kill him already. Like, it's not like the whole fucking Hansa situation, where, like, it's not like the whole Hansa situation rolled out, where it was like, oh yeah, they're gonna keep us here forever, kill them. No, it's just we're gonna sneak out. The whole Market Station situation. Poor Bourbon's gonna have to put out a little bit more than he normally does, but we made it out, I guess. I mean, I have a feeling that if Bourbon had been able to, like, actually keep the situation with the bandits at the Black Station from going to shit, I'm pretty sure he would have, and he would have, like, avoided killing them. And remember, he doesn't even fight the Reds at first when he gets to the fucking, when he gets to Armory. He doesn't even engage in combat with them. He just runs away until fucking Andrew the Blacksmith rescues him. So it's not like he's, like, constantly killing people all the time, but I'm getting ahead of myself, and I'm going on tangents. The point being, Metro 2033's depiction of the unity of mankind in, like, an immense, like, tragedy and near mass extinction event is tenuous at best, and people are constantly ready to kill each other. And you know what? I can understand that given the stress, you know? Mankind's kind of fucked right now. We don't know how long we have, and every time we send a radio transmission out, nobody fucking gets back to us. That's some scary shit. But here's the problem. People act more hostile and worse than that in Last Light, when everybody in the fucking Polis Rangers and most of Artyom's crew are all living in a fucking missile silo, like, base underground that has a fucking reactor that makes it literally impossible for them to lose power. It's extremely well defended. It has shit tons of ammo and resources and everything you could ever ask. It's basically a self-sustaining fucking shelter forever. And these people are still getting mad at each other over stupid shit. They're acting like more irritable and snapping at people who are supposed to be your friends. Again, the scene when Miller comes out of the Polis Council, and he's like, oh, I can't believe they won't help us. It's like, yeah, you know what? Seeing a big, strong motherfucker who is basically the, like Miller is obviously your surrogate hunter. He's like the closest guy you have to look up to as a warrior, as a fighter, as a protector, because of Hunter's disappearance. And he's the closest you have. And seeing him take you under his wing and then say, yeah, no, I'm gonna fucking stick my neck out for you. And he's like, I can't fucking believe it. I can't believe this shit. Why are they not helping you? And he's like, fine, we're gonna do it ourselves. I refuse to believe that is the exact same man who in fucking, what is it, in Metro Last Light is saying, hey, Artyom, if you don't exterminate this race of evolved people by killing this actual child right now, I'm not friends with you anymore. It's like, that's not Miller, man. That's not him. I'm sorry, it just ain't. And of course, you know, Ullman, the joke-cracking funny man, who's like always kind of got something funny up his sleeve. Him being a piece of shit to Khan, and Khan being a piece of shit to him right back. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't get it. So yeah, I'm sorry I let, you know, like the minute aspects of Metro Last Light story kind of like hurt my perception of the game, but it's hard not to, because like people in Last Light act so fucking stupid. And by people who act stupid, I mean Pavel. Last Light was going on. It sucked. It sucked because Last Light added a lot of really cool mechanics. It looks great. It plays great. Soundtrack's as good as ever. Overall, it's a great game. But I couldn't stand the fucking story. Okay, if you're assuring me that Exodus really, you know, pulled its weight and fixed a lot of the things that I generally had grievances with about Last Light, I will stick it through Last Light to play Exodus. I am not the type of person to be like, I'm just gonna read a Wikipedia page entry for like the earlier game in the series just so I could play the sequel. Nah, I'm gonna go deal with it. Granted, suffering through games I don't like just to play the sequel usually leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth. You want a good example of that? Motherfucking The Evil Within. I powered through that to play Evil Within 2, and the first time I played Evil Within, I fucking hated it. I thought it was like the most bullshit game I'd ever played. It was busted, poorly balanced, the game felt like it was just too stacked against you at all times. Also, I could just get to fucking Evil Within 2, which I mostly liked. And then, surprise, surprise, I come back to Evil Within 1 and just like play it at my own leisure, and I have a blast with it. So like, I don't wanna power through Last Light and endure it just to play Exodus, but I don't wanna be that motherfucker who just goes to read a Wikipedia page as a substitute for playing a game. It doesn't feel right. But I gotta make some type of decision. Exodus is very open world, you don't mind that? Generally, no. I like open world games, and I think that, I mean, fuck, look what I'm playing right now. Okay, Sumir, skipping Clear Sky doesn't hurt your perception of Stalker's story because Clear Sky is a prequel. You literally didn't miss anything if you skipped Clear Sky. The only thing you missed was just, like, basically seeing the evolution of Call of Pripyat's mechanics, which you could just see the fucking end thing of, because they already started appearing in Shadow of Chernobyl anyway. I don't think that's an applicable comparison, because skipping Clear Sky is the easiest decision that anybody in the Stalker fandom can make. Like, I'm sorry to our Clear Sky fans, all two of them. I know Luna was really looking forward to me playing Clear Sky again, and I fear that this year may end before I get to play it again. But oh, God, Clear Sky's bad. Spaghetti says, I think Exodus forgets about what happened on Last Light. The developers knew that it wasn't good. That's good then. I'm glad to hear it was like a general, really good, like, sort of improvement over the things that I didn't like. Everyone promotes Yakuza 0 as a good start for the Yakuza series, despite there being some reasons not to. Yeah, I mean, it's also just because Yakuza 0 is generally, like, a lot easier to get started with, because the original Yakuza is, you know, a lot harder to get your hands on. Which is, of course, why, after they made Yakuza 0, they made Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2. Because they're like, well, now we got, you know, we made a prequel, and we got everybody who wants to get into the series and see where it goes from here, but they can't because the original games are, like, on the fucking PS2 now, and they can't play them. How you gonna make, like, a fucking next-gen prequel for your game from literally 2 generations ago? And be like, well, I guess you just gotta eat shit. No, I couldn't be happier that they actually made, you know, Kiwami 1 and 2, because after making a prequel, I feel like that's the right thing to do. The Yakuza developers knew their shit. Just Play 0 was alright. I want to play 0. I haven't gotten to play 0. The problem is that, like, 0 seems like a game that would take a lot out of me, and I'm waiting on a good opportunity for that, you know? I've hated that it's gotten to the point where I'm the kind of person now where it's like, oh, I want to play this game, but I'm just too tired to do it, or I'm not sure if I have the energy or time, you know, like, opening for it. But, like, that's just kind of how things turned out. I'm not getting you rodent meat, Butcher, I'm sorry. You're gonna hate unlocking the legend styles? Well, we'll see. Harder to get your hands on, and also harder to enjoy. Played Yakuza 1 and Yakuza 2, PS2, and if the improvement from Game 1 to Game 2 is like a 5 to 9. Yeah, I've heard it's a day and night difference. Dance and karaoke minigames are fun. Oh, absolutely. I'm really excited for the dance and karaoke stuff. Not to mention pretty much everything else you can do. Don't even get me started on how fun the slot cars look. Yakuza looks like a great game. It's completely insane, and I love it. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about the Yakuza games without it being, like, you know, like a pretty big, like, you know, glowing, like, this game is great. Like, obviously, you know, there are occasions where it's like, you know, this game could have been a little bit better, this game was a bit rougher on the edges, but it's always with the fucking, like, it's always still with what is it? Like, I feel like there's always the caveat of, okay, this part was rough around the edges, or this game could have been better, but for fuck's sake, it's a Yakuza game. So, of course, you're still gonna have fun. I think that's the lesson to take away from it. Wanted to at least get curious, but fuck me, is it a pain. That's valid. I also wanted to try Yakuza 7 because I've heard it's a completely bespoke story. And don't even get me started on Judgment and Lost Judgment. A lot of people don't realize that Judgment and Lost Judgment are Yakuza spin-offs, which is crazy because they're, like, completely different games in both gameplay and tone. But I've heard they're great. Also, this shit kind of terrifying. The golden rule of gaming is to have fun. Abso-fucking-lutely. Like Reggie said, if it's not fun, why bother? I know it's easy to say that, but it's true. Like play a game for at least, something to enjoy. You know? If you're not getting anything enjoyable out of a game, then just don't. Story, music, atmosphere, whatever. Like Spec Ops: The Line, not a super fun game, but its music and story and atmosphere out of this fucking world. Fantastic goddamn game. Extremely necessary game in our era. I couldn't be happier about it. Flop says I have wanted to play Like a Black Tiger, the PSP spin-off, because it's the last hand-to-hand combat game known for N64 era wrestling games and Def Jam, the good ones. And the Yakuza 0 is fun as hell. Wonderful to hear it. I've heard it is goofy. No matter what, I fucking love Majima, Goro Majima. I think like the weird, like, technically not bromance and like dynamic between Kiryu and Majima is probably my favorite aspect of Yakuza. I love Majima, I love everything I does, and I love the way that his personality clashes with, like, what is it, Kiryu, but they never, like, hate each other. Sometimes they antagonize each other, but they're not like, oh, I'm gonna kill you. It's just, what the fuck is going on? Everyone's favorite idol, Goro Majima. Exactly! Majima's fantastic! Man, if I could work at Majima Construction, I would. But I can't, so I don't. Well, yeah, of course he is, because he's he doesn't have time for women. He's got to be on the grind. Is that what the kids say? He's on that grind set? Man's amazing. Well, that's the thing, is that Kiryu has never really struck me as a very sexual human being. He's not interested in that. And you know what? That's fucking great. Kiryu is the Arrow Ace idol that is the Arrow Ace representation that we need. Along with Balalaika from Black Lagoon, obviously. Alright, where's that fucking controller? That's why he's wholesome, is because he's, like, just not really about that life. Like, the whole deal with the man is that he just wants the best for everybody. Alright, where's this fucking controller at? I gotta find something to get behind if I'm gonna do this. Jesus. That's the thing, though, is that Spaghetti, I don't think that... You could say that, but I don't think he's interested in that. He's literally just not about that life. It's never struck me as a matter of, like, he can. It's a matter of it's not his thing. And you know what? I respect the fuck out of that. Alright. Where the fuck is this controller at? We've had 2 emissions back to back. Oh, I see him now. And he's got a thrall over here. With the controller dead, hopefully his fucking thrall will be okay. Those lights just keep flashing. Well, yeah. It's almost like an emission just happened. And now it just stops. Like it never happened. Alright, I think all the zombies are dead, finally. How many of the fucking zombies did I kill, by the way? I love the Exodus gas mask mechanic. Oh yeah, speaking of which... Just straight up taken from it. Same with the, what is it, first aid kit, animation. Here's all the ones that I killed, right here on this tree. And gun mechanic as well. Yeah, I've heard good stuff about it. I loved the shooting and overall, like, combat and survival and horror management mechanics of fucking 2033. And Last Light is mostly just the same thing again. No, Stalker did not do it first. This Anomaly basically just, like, has the same mechanic. They just took it. Because Anomaly came out in 2018. I'm gonna have my boys come over here. Now, there was one stalker over here who was a controller thrall, but he's dead. Or at least I think he's dead. I don't know, because he's not alive and he's not shooting at me. Where did he go? And there was a bloodsucker, too. This is an Apocalyptic World Games mechanic. Oh, it's a fracture. Getting sleepy, so gonna lurk now? Thank you, Samir. Hope you have a good sleep. Rest well, homie. Are you good, my man? What's happening? Are they gonna kill him? Wow. Okay, he was still zombified and hostile. Well, saves me the trouble. Safety guide to ammunition. Oh. Yes. Okay. So we got the mechanics manual. We got the mechanics manual that teaches me, how to fucking, what is it, make, better night vision goggles. And we now have an ammunition manual, which hopefully teaches me how to make 545 rounds and 7.62. Oh no, those are 9x39. Not 7.62, but it does teach me how to make 5.56 and 5.45. So I've literally found one of the most important goddamn ammunition safety guides for reloading existing cartridges. So that's going to make ensuring that I have a good ammo supply really, really fucking good. And I've got the magazines for that FAL, too. Everything's coming up Sascha. Better ammo? Well, yeah, because I have a ton of old and dirty 545 armor-piercing cartridges back home. But I can't make use of them because I can't, like, because shooting them will basically just, like, fuck up my, this is 90. Shooting them will fuck up my weapon's durability more. So without being able to turn them into better ammo, I can't make use of it. And we've got better tools for Peregrine and Screw. I'm gonna give these to Peregrine because we need to get that freedom fucking notoriety up. So let's head over to the Dark Valley now. But because I've got this now, I can give this to Peregrine and increase my notoriety with freedom. I can give them these things as well. Mutant parts will be good for the scientists. And I've also got things for killing the military. Because who wanted those? Was it Freedom that wanted the military? You can confix the mags to make them work with your gun. Not quite. Also, there is not explosive ammo. There is ammo that can be pretty destructive, but there's not explosive ammo in this game. Generally speaking, magazines are set to use a very specific caliber. You can go to a mechanic and in some very rare cases set a gun up to use a different caliber. And you can usually retool magazines to take that caliber. But nah, generally speaking, mags are pretty restrictive to what weapon and caliber they use. Obviously, any, like, AK mag that takes 45 can go with any type of weapon, so you can use RPK mags with a regular AKS-74U if you so please. Any 545, any 5.56 Stanag will go into any AR platform weapon that fires 5.56, you name it. How do I get up here again? Because there's a way to get to the oh wait, no, I can't get there from here. I have to go around. Now, where's the way that I want to enter the Dark Valley? Because there's two different ways, and one of them gets me closest to where I want to go. And it's the one right down here. I do like that how this works because in vanilla Stalker, if you want a weapon to use like increased magazine cap, you basically just have to upgrade the weapon and it is now permanently using stendo clips. But with the magazines attachment or the magazines add-on mod, you can use whatever magazines that still fit a weapon if you'd like. So I can have one regular like capacity, like medium capacity magazine firing just FMJ in my fucking loadout. And then I can also have a fucking, you know, drum or a fucking, what is it, quad stack magazine with armor-piercing rounds in it in my exact same loadout, and I can switch between them on the fly. Obviously, because I have a setting turned on in the add-on that makes it so that weapons have, what is it, a one in the chamber, that makes switching between them on the fly a little bit difficult, because obviously if I'm using an FMJ mag and then I switch to an AP mag, the first round is still going to be FMJ because I chambered one. But generally speaking, it's still cool that I can do that. Mag adapter? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Shit. Rats! Tracking rats is a lot easier now thanks to the grass system. Alright, so we're finally here in the Dark Valley. I'm gonna grab this fucking thing and leave. Sounds like boars to me. Let's use any kind of mag. Nah, I'm afraid this doesn't have that kind of mechanic. That would be somewhat cool, though. Alright, thankfully I don't have to cross the fucking, bridge here. Why so many grenade botches? I haven't even thrown any grenades for, like, the past 10 minutes. I think my guys are fighting a boar over there. Alright, see you, homie. We'll be here. However, the box that I need is pretty heavily guarded by this fucking thing, by the military, so I might have to start some shit with the Ukrainian security service to get at this, but let's see how well I can do this. There's usually a sniper on the top floor. But if there is, you can't see me because of the trees. Oh! Okay, we're good. I'll just run in here and grab it and leave. It's in this fucking side building. Easy as fuck. You are. However, the lock case weighs so fucking much it's gonna weigh me down really bad. Let me pop this, actually. Boars. I don't really have time to skin him, so I'm just gonna have to leave him like that. What the fuck are they shooting at? Also, I just realized I think I've been playing with, wait. No, please don't tell me. Oh man, I've been playing with RZ's Rad Overhaul on this entire time. Uh-oh, that might be a problem. Because I was wondering why radiation things didn't seem to be, like, making radiation go away as much. And why I didn't seem to be hearing radiation at all on me. And it's because I've been playing with RZ's Rad Overhaul mod on this entire time. So depending on the outcome of tonight's stream, we basically may have had a whole stream completely in the hole. Because I don't know if I can load this save up if I turn off the Rad Overhaul. Hopefully I should. I'm gonna go ask on the Discord after this, but I'll make a separate save just in case! Now fuck this, I'm out of here. Oh. Okay. You know what, actually, let me go check on the Discord literally right now. Stalker Anomaly. Modding General. I turned on RZ's Rad Overhaul in the middle of a save. Can I still use that save if I, turn it off after saving? Alright. Question posited to the Stalker Anomaly Discord. And I'm bleeding. Fucking pseudo dogs, man. I gotta pop this. A lot of money is gonna be... Oh, okay. A lot of money is gonna be spent on medical supplies when I get back home. This I know. How strange. Can't believe my ass forgot to turn off RZs because I've been playing with it all week. Because I use it in my offline saves. I don't think it should change anything because it just changes how radiation works, although it does change your dosage. So I think if I make sure I have no radiation dosage in me by the time the stream is over and then save, because it changes radiation zones and the radiation dosage. And the only people who are affected by the radiation zones are the player. So if I just make sure I have no radiation in me by curing myself by going to a medic when we get back to base later, I'm pretty sure I'll be okay. Alright, one of you needs to carry Skinflint's case, though, because I'm not carrying this. I've got a large, sewing kit. And somebody's faction medic needs a fucking drug-making kit. I could probably give that to Freedom's medic, too. And we also have an advanced toolkit, so I'm gonna be getting a lot of notoriety with Freedom tonight. We're gonna be well on our way, because Freedom offers up a lot of weaponry I really want. Like the fucking M4 Tactical, Skinflint's rifle, a variety of other really, really cool guns. Skinflint's rifle is cool, but I like the M4 Tactical more, especially because I happen to be using Phantom's tactical endgame weapons, which changes a lot of the weapons to be generally a lot better. The last time I did this run, I used the AK-105 Shakal, which was an AK-105 that generally fires 545 ammunition, but it has a hybrid ACOG and RMR red dot. So it was good, but the fact that I kept loading it with FMJ while dealing with exoskeleton troops was extremely counterintuitive to my goal. With an AK-74 PMC, I think it's technically not as much of an endgame weapon, but it still, you know, hits like one. And that's really all that matters to me. gonna buy some dog meat off this man so I can give it to Freedom later and hopefully make some more money. How much dog meat do they even want, man? Either way, we're off to Agriprum. Second here. You're at 82%. And we're at 75. Probably a good idea to clean this up right now. We'll bring it up to 93 and then use the tube glue to bring it up higher. Good enough. Say what you want about my combat ability, but I am pretty good at managing all of my resources, to the best of my ability, that is. Alright, don't engage. It's just like a cat or something, I bet. Yep, it's bandits. I don't feel like engaging with Gopniks right now. Mihas muddy. Maybe I do feel like engaging. I feel like somebody's gotta die if he's named that. That's okay. So now we're in Agriprum. We'll grab that thing, head straight to Yantar, get all these things settled out, drop off the vodka, and maybe some mutant parts. Then head back to the bar, turn in some quests there, then go right back up to the army warehouses, turn in quests with Freedom, and we're all good to go. Easy as fuck. I probably could have bought some dog meat from Barkeep, but I wasn't sure. I'm pretty sure the only guy you can actually buy mutant meat from is Butcher. And maybe... No, Forrester is a mechanic, I forgot. Can't fault me for checking these cases. Sometimes they have cool shit in them. What's spotting me? Oh, it's boars. Oh, it's a pig. And snorks? Alright. They're not engaging us, so there's not really much of a need to engage them. Stand down, fellas. Well, now, what do I need to grab here in Agriprum? What is it, a fucking... Encrypted documents for Barkeep. You know what, actually, hold up. Let me try something. Because it did just auto-save when I passed a level transition. Let me exit the game real quick and reload it without Arzy's rad overhaul and see if that affects anything. I would hope it wouldn't. I would hope it wouldn't, because I don't generally want to use it with Arzy's. If it crashes, then we say fuck it. It's been a fucking eventful night here in the zone. I'm getting a lot done, and I'm proud of myself for it. Alright, let's load the autosave. God forbid it crashes. I would hope it wouldn't. But it shouldn't. Because I've loaded saves that were made with Arzy's without that mod before, and it's been okay. No, we're good. Okay. And it just saves me as having radiation in my body, because that was technically how that mod functions. So, we'll just drink some water and just fucking tough it out. Well, that's easier to fix than I thought it would be. However, I do need to open up VTube Studio. And... oh, no, the desync got fixed. Okay, that was weird. But now we're good. Alright, so we grab these documents, we fuck off back to Yantar, go through the, what is it, wild territory, kill the mercs, and then go back straight up to the army warehouses, and, considering I got a drug-making kit for their medic, a fucking, like, multiple, fucking, what is it, like, kits for, like, upgrade tools for their mechanic, and quests to complete, I'm expecting a pretty good influx of money, because mechanic kit, mechanic toolkit quests pay up pretty fucking well. I'm happy they do. However, I must have had more radiation in my body than I thought because I'm really running low on water. Is that what I think that is? Uh-oh. That sounds like either a chimera or a pseudo-giant, and I'm not interested in either of those. So let's stay low and keep to the sides here. Fucking... Oh, hey! Fresh meat! Uh-oh. I might die here. This is a lot of fucking dogs. I like how earlier I was like, oh man, there's never enough dogs to you know, to cook them. And now they're giving me way too many dogs that I can deal with. Well, we did it though. What are you shooting at now? Oh, it's a pseudo dog. Are you serious? Did he really just kill that motherfucker? Okay. So keep the shoddy out and be prepared for the real shit to happen when I enter here. Easy. Oh, hey, a pumpkin. Okay, don't bother with the fucking snorks and the fleshes. We'll make our way over here, but when we actually see the dogs, we'll engage. I probably didn't help my man's chances by accidentally hitting him with some straight buckshot, but it's okay. He's not gonna remember that. It's a fucking beautiful day out here in the zone, though, isn't it? Well, I mean, we still got, like, a decent level of British weather happening up above, but, like, you know, it could be worse. It could be, like, a complete fucking downpour. It could be a lot of things. Helmet's seen better days. Gotta do something about that. Now let's move. We don't want to be seen by whatever's down there. Ooh, IEDs. Ammo I don't plan on using. And they can't go off ledges, so they insist on taking the long way around. That's okay. No, do not engage. I know what the fuck you idiots thought you were going after, but it's not what we need. Oh wait, no, it actually is super what we need. Okay. Right, stay close, don't get killed. Well, if it is dogs, they see me now. Oh, yeah, it's dogs. Spaghetti says I'm back and completely clean of radiation. Good shit, so am I. I found out that I can just turn off the fucking RZ's Rat Overhaul mod and I don't have to worry about possible crashes or anything, so that puts a lot of worries to rest. Come on, man. Luck be like 3 or 4 units of dog meat tonight. No, just 1. See, because the grass is so fucking thick, I gotta actually, like, look for the dogs. Wherever my guys killed him. I have reason to believe there may be some more anyway, though. Thankfully. Don't say that. Jesus. You have earned yourself one Sascha bonk. Okay, if you're making a joke about, oh, you got that dog in you, that works, I guess. She's got that dog in her. As we all know, David Berkowitz was the first man to have that dog in him. I don't know, man. I don't know what I thought she meant. Don't fucking bonk me, Nix. Man, I got a headache happening. I might actually call the stream when we get to Yantar, because I am getting a little bit of a headache, and I'm starting to feel kind of unwell. I'll make plans for us to turn in a lot of these quests on, next week, I think. Oh, gotta be careful with that. Yantar is still a safe place, and it's a gathering point, so it's still a good place to save, I think. Here we go. Normally, I'd still be down to go, you know, all the way to the fucking army warehouses. But the fucking... Like, I shit you not, like a weird, like, headache and kind of fever is coming over me right now, and I don't know why. It can't be dehydration, because I've been drinking pretty steadily, but... I just don't feel good. That's weird. Normally that doesn't happen. I'm sure it's nothing that a little bit of fucking, what is it? Aspirin can't fix, but that's gonna take a while to kick in. So... do not engage. What the dog doing to you? Ripping my armor to shreds, as it would seem.
No, я слушаю.
Alright. Can I interest you in not getting involved in conflicts with mutants on the other side of the map, please? Chicken soup and a... I'll take the soup, but I'm good on the second part, thanks. Appreciate it, though. Hold up. Who has the vodka? Oh, the snorks are, like, literally right here. Nah, I'm good, but thank you. Shit. Cats and snorks fighting each other? Oh, that was a good shot. I may have whiffed like 5 or 6 of them at first, but I did get a really good one there. I can't really say I have any interest in skinning these fucking snorks right now, though. Alright, bring up the vodka and let's get some more fucking ammo for me, yeah. You are not carrying the vodka. You are. You know what? I'm actually kind of, now that I can actually make my own 545, give me the fucking what is it? Sniper rifle ammo instead. There we go. So now I'm fucking loaded for bear with sniper rifle ammo. I got 30 rounds. It's 3 whole mags worth. It's the good shit. I'm going to find a campfire to save at, and I think we're going to call it a night here. Because I am starting to feel a little bit unwell, which is unbecoming of me, but, I don't want to keep going, you know, still be turning in quests and shit if I'm not feeling good. Because it's still going to take a while to get all of that done. So let me go to save. Alright. So, we got that done. Another successful Stalker Tuesday. It's been a fucking hell of a night. We had a ton of really cool conversation going on. I got a ton of good stuff done in the fucking questing and everything. It's been a productive night, and I've been really fucking happy to share it with all of you guys. But we're gonna call it here because I don't really feel super good. So, let's see who we can raid out to. A sec here. Who can we raid to? Is that Knives? Is that Knives streaming actually? Huh. Wookie's streaming. You know, my good homie Kelly is streaming. I'm gonna go raid her actually. That sounds like a good idea. What is our raid message gonna be? Our raid message is gonna be fuck EA. Topical, and it works. I think it's something Kelly will resonate with too. Okay, so there's our raid message. Fuck EA. Those are follower emotes, so you should have access to them. And if you don't, feel free to use whatever emotes you please. We're gonna head on down to the end screen so I can raid us into Kelly's stream. So I will be right there, and we'll head out. All right. So, thank you guys for bearing with me, and apologies for the slightly earlier end than usual. I appreciate the understanding, though. So we're gonna go right into my good homie Kelly OC, wonderful streamer, wonderful fellow Stalker VTuber. She does the good work. Let me see her. Let me see here. If you want to see more of what I'm going to be doing this week, on Thursday, I'm going to be playing Duskers with my homie Mono. Since I'm continuing my theme of unconventional horror experiences this month, I'm going to be playing Duskers on Thursday, which is mostly a, coding parser game where you control drones that scavenge derelict spaceships. It's going to be very interesting. And on Sunday, I'm going to be playing Bloodborne with my friend Pinch Raccoon. I'm definitely looking forward to that as well, and I hope you do also. These are all going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as always. You fucking know it. Lastly, if you would like to see more of what I'm doing, or look at my updates on stream schedules, or even just see things I'm doing other than streams, go down to the Twitter in my About section and check out that, or you can come join our Discord community, hang out with us there. That's going to be all. I'll see you all in Kelly's channel. Goes by pretty much both he, him, or she, her. I think Kelly's pretty flexible with that. So I guess use whatever pronouns just work. But please be respectful and don't be weird, because if you fuck up over there, I'm not allowing you back in here. I will see you all later. Have a wonderful night. Be good to yourselves. I love you all. And keep doing your best. Pripyat City Hey Crew for life. Peace out.